I figured I'd just go live now. We'll let people filter in, and Greg will be joining shortly. All right, so I'm excited to hear what Greg has to say about the film. I actually watched it, or I watched all the clips that he sent me. So, I got me playing in the background. Hold on. There we go. Let me exit that out. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, now I can't hear an echo in my headphones. So, waiting on Greg to show up, man. Shout out to everybody that's already kind of filtering in here. Y'all got questions, y'all got things y'all want to get off your chest. Go ahead, put that in the chat. If you want to come on live real quick, I'll put you on live. But yeah, I'm excited. I see Bree Marie in here. Shout out to Bree. Bree, you be really tuning in, man. You be in the morning show. You here. I see you on social media. That's what's up. You tapped in. Real Niner gang. That's what's up. BSC says Croc got an Iowa State cyclone alarm. Yeah, or warning. Yeah, so most of y'all know, I live here in Arkansas, southeast Arkansas, so dirty South. I'm in the dirty South. All right? I'm a few minutes away from Mississippi, a few minutes away from Louisiana. And we will at times get tornado warnings. So far nothing crazy has happened. We'll be off of our tornado warning in about 10 minutes. About 15 minutes ago, they had the sirens going off and all that. And I'm like, all right, let's push this back and wait for Greg to show up as well. So yeah, Big Cock Brock. We gotta ask Greg what he feels about that nickname. So Greg, I'm gonna bring you on now.
You're going
how you feel
into
about this?
No, I'm not. It's hot already. It's hot already. I mean, not even a intro or nothing. Is Greg? What do you think about this nickname? Oh man, this is tough, man. We're gonna get canceled before we're barely 5 minutes in this. You're barely 5 minutes in the live.
2.5 technically.
All right. All right. I'm gonna say, just let it be for now. But that was the one question that my brothers or random people would ask. We got Brock Purdy in the chat here. That was
what's good, Brock?
Brock, can you verify that by chance? The nickname
Brocky.
That was the one question, and I don't think he's in here right now. But the one question that people asked Tyler Bray, because he played with Nick Foles, and they
were asking about his legit.
Yes,
penis.
Because he had that nickname, Big Nick. Okay, so that was always the question, and other NFL players would even ask Tyler that question. Is it true? Is the nickname true? Everybody wants to know. Yeah.
So this wasn't a nickname for Nick Foles. Okay, he, big nuts for his play late in that season, going to the Super Bowl.
This was
it
something
was
that
like
was
a direct
more
correlation to his genitals.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So
Niner Cali Boy says sus. That is a little sus. And then for people to ask about it, because you do take showers with the guys.
Yeah, it's not like this is
college,
a hidden
NFL,
thing.
Professional. You take showers with the guys.
Right. It's
butt naked.
It's a common.
You walk in butt naked. Matter of fact, not just are you butt naked. I mean, I just remember being in the locker room and you got the reporters coming in. Dudes is butt naked, coming in and out of the shower. The reporters are all in there, and it's just like a normal thing, I guess. But that's wild. So now everybody feels uncomfortable. But y'all not comfortable calling the dude Big Cock Brock, but now y'all uncomfortable with the other side of it.
and even posting it on Twitter. They got the rooster in there. People have run with it, and it didn't take more than 20 minutes during the first game, for it to come about. This was quick turnaround. So maybe some folks in here know something more than we really do about this situation.
All right, so you're saying he got the yeah. All right, I'm not going. I just
you know what? I'm not.
I'm not a
I
big
think it's the
fan
end
of
of the
it.
road. It's the end of the road, I think, for us here. I don't think we're ever going to really know, but there's a few players on the 49ers
I
that
don't
might
think
be
we
able to
want to know,
verify
but
for us.
no,
Maybe
we're
the
cool.
females.
We're cool. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Shout out to everybody. I believe I'm live on Twitter as well, or we are live on Twitter. Oh, bro, why you tell me I got the wrong?
You always do
go.
this.
I know,
and
man. My
Underdog
bad.
Fantasies on there. Shout out to Underdog. I don't
I
ever
think for
win
the
any money on Underdog, but shout out to Underdog.
well, that's unfortunate for you because I just won 60 yesterday, 200 the day before, and I was 3 attempts from Mac Jones away from $600.
See, and we had texted about it during the obviously Angry Donald and myself and you texting about these little props and things like that, and I do it on another source sometimes when Underdog isn't going my way.
Yeah, Underdog Fantasy.
Brian
Promo code
Peacock
Crocky.
has talked about that multiple times. But anyways, we had missed out. My wife had gone on there, and she's doing the whole little betting thing, and missed the total passing yards by 15 yards from
Wow.
Brock Purdy, which was a $20 bet for $600 payout, and when that one missed.
Wow.
And then I missed the second half. I got Brady, I got McCaffrey, and I had the Panthers running back in the second half. And then I bet Purdy. I bet it early, though, like early second quarter. I bet he would have over 102 yards passing in the second half. And I'm like, oh, well, 102, like he's got this. No, 0 yards passing or whatever.
Why would he have that when they're up 28-0?
It was early in the second quarter because I'm thinking if they start to come back, they might change the line. So I was trying to get in on it early versus them changing the line by 10 more yards or whatever. So
Gotcha.
I missed out on another $70, but yeah, Brock, you did sell me. Look, we got Brock Purdy in here. This is wild, man. Brock, send Brock the link.
It's not Brock Purdy. That is
Brock just came to watch some
Dan
film
Luigi, aka Brock Purdy. All right, we're about to get into the film. Of course, I know that's what everybody came in here to see. Shout out to everybody here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Initial thoughts, I don't even want to hear your initial thoughts on Brock Purdy because we'll get to that. But just on the 49ers team in general, are they as good as what it looked like in that game? Because they were just completely dominant. Tom Brady looked like, all right, just retire tomorrow. He's underthrowing guys left and right, one hopping some guys. It looked like he was putting his whole body into it. Is that Tom Brady? Like, is it? Oh, okay, that's a better question. Are we done with the Tom Brady thing? They talk about what is it? Father Time. Father Time's undefeated, and I feel like this was the one guy who was kind of outlasting Father. It's like at some point Father Time has to be defeated. He's 44 years old last year, and I felt like he should have won the MVP. So I feel like he kind of defeated it, but now, is it kind of caught up to him now?
If I say yes, like they're gonna end up going on some stupid run and try and pull out something ridiculous. So I don't even want to say yes, but just to jinx it. But I think that the defense. I always said this, that, and this is not a knock to Tom Brady, but the way that our defenses have been set up over the last, let's call it in and out, the last 10 years, okay? From basically when we lost to the Giants in the NFC Championship game, then lose the Super Bowl the next year, and then to the point in 2019 where we lost against the Chiefs. I told you this back then. I thought that when the Niners got matched up with the Chiefs, that the Chiefs were the scariest team in the NFL that the Niners had to face at the time. And I felt like if the Niners had faced Tom Brady that year, that it would have been just like we watched the other day. I feel like the Niners would have throttled them in the Super Bowl. And that's not necessarily because Shanahan and the crazy run game that we had, and Jimmy was playing really good football that year, threw for over 4,000 yards. Like everything was clicking. I think that the Niners defense was just that good that they would have throttled the Patriots at the time. And then we ended up playing Pat Mahomes and up 21-10. And yeah, we've never watched that game since. But going back to previous years, I always thought the same thing in the Super Bowl, that the D-line was set up for speed. The defense was set up for speed, that it was going to give him hell back there. And it came to fruition yesterday. We finally got to see the Niners versus the Patriots again, versus Tom Brady again. And it wasn't with the Patriots, but it was with the Bucs. And it was what I expected. I honestly did expect it. I thought that they would have done a little bit more on offense, but I expected the defense to be all over his ass. And that's exactly what they were. And I've always felt like that, whether it would have been a Super Bowl matchup or regular season matchup. That defense is too quick. The way that we've gathered and set up everything collectively on defense, that it would be too much for him. So I expected it, to be honest, but I think that the team in general, I think the question was more as time passing by, I think he's obviously still doing things at a high level. You can tell his arm is not necessarily the same as what it has been. There was a blown coverage where he threw that ball down the field, and there was a couple other ones where he'd underthrown balls or he'd hit a couple in the end zone that should have been probably better passes, but they weren't. So he just kind of looked like he was all over the place the other day. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I do think that the 49ers team, I think they're for real. I think that Brock Purdy is doing well.
I don't want to hear you. We got to watch the film first on Purdy.
But can I say this?
No.
About the hype. I can't say this about the hype.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I think that a lot of people are jumping the gun on the hype, and that's not being negative towards Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy. I like what he's done so far. I think that he's got.
I feel like this should come after your evaluation.
But I want to say this: the hype that Brock Purdy has right now is the same hype. It's very similar to when Jimmy G came in and saved the day back in, what was it, 2017, 2018? Okay, so somebody just said it right here. There we go.
Yep. So, but can I say the difference? What I think is the difference?
No.
Okay, go ahead then.
No, go ahead. You can. Go for it. Let's see it.
So when we talk about 2017 Jimmy, I actually started this comment because I wanted to talk about it as well. I just didn't know exactly when we were going to do it. But Jimmy in 2017, as it pertains to wins, yes, right. I mean, we're talking about a guy who came in, 49ers looked crappy. I think they were fake crappy that year. And I say that, remember, they lost 5 straight games by 3 or less points. So I'm like, they are just a little bit better quarterback away from actually winning a lot of games. So I didn't quite look at it like, oh, man, he came in, he won 5 straight. I was just like, man, they needed that just like bump in play from the quarterback position, better than Hoyer, better than Beathard. And obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo gave them that. But talking about Jimmy and what he looked like, Jimmy Garoppolo looked exactly the same in 2017 as I feel like now. Now, you might say slightly better mobility or whatever, but even watching him then, I think he moved around well, but still not. Like, I still think, like, even right now, Brock Purdy moves better than Jimmy ever did.
Right, yeah,
in the 49er uniform, right? So you look at what Jimmy did in that year. We talk about he came in, he balled out. Not to be a box score scout, but 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the starts. Like, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. Right? He still wasn't like throwing the ball downfield. It wasn't like you were getting this like way different version of Jimmy Garoppolo. It was the Jimmy Garoppolo, the same Jimmy you saw that year, right? Was the same Jimmy you saw in 2019. It's the same Jimmy Garoppolo you see now, who's hyper efficient third down passer, still wasn't really pushing the ball down the field. Thought he made timely throws, and he did a really good job closing out games, which people don't want to give him credit for it, but throughout most of his career, outside of like the biggest games, or whatever you consider the biggest games, because I think that the game against Green Bay Packers, that was a big game. He was shitty all game, but he closed it out. Had to make a few throws on that final drive. Did it. Deebo ran for first down, kick a field goal, you win the game, right? So you go back to 2017, a lot of it was coming in, who is this guy? No, he came from New England. Boom, first downs, game-winning drives, kicking the field goal and winning, right? Like, we're talking about, oh, man, he looks so great. Like, the 49ers scored 15 points. I saw Grant Cohn post something about it earlier, but they scored 15 points against the Bears and beat them 15-14. Like, that's included in his wins. And then you beat the Rams without all their starters. And you know what I'm saying? So, and not trying to belittle his wins, but as it pertains to, like, the hype on it and how he played, Jimmy's been the same. So if you're telling me that the version of Brock Purdy that you're getting right now, that's the version that you will always get. That's I think he's doing some things a little different.
No, I agree with you. I think he is, and I think that the difference is it's exciting and new, right? Like you knew what you were getting with Jimmy, and it's not like that Jimmy was. People can say what they want to say. Jimmy's won a lot of games with the 49ers, right? And it's not necessarily, you could say it's plug and play. Well, they had the same offense prior in that season in 2017 when he came in, and then he came in with a fraction of a playbook and then won 5 straight, right? And there was the big win against the Jaguars, who had that huge, big-time defense that year. But I think he did really well, and I think people get sometimes too caught up in wanting more. Because there's things that he has done really well and that Brock Purdy does really well that other quarterbacks that might be a little bit more talented or arm talent-wise or move a little bit better don't necessarily do. And then those other guys can do things that Jimmy and Brock can't do. So you got to try and find that happy medium, and hopefully that's the recipe to winning a Super Bowl, right? So, eliminating errors and rookie mistakes or bad throws. Those things are going to happen. With Brock Purdy, it's going to happen at some point or another. We've been lucky to see him do well for the last couple games. At some point or another, it's going to happen, right? That's just football in general, and you know as well as I do. Everybody has a shitty game at some point or another. So when it does happen, it can't be that, the media and the fans, it's going to be this build them up, and then as soon as it does happen, it's like, okay, we're going to shoot them down. You know what I'm saying?
Did you pay any close attention to the Dallas Cowboys situation with Cooper Rush?
Yeah, of course, right?
So Cooper Rush, he came in for an injured Dak Prescott, right? Dak Prescott got hurt against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cooper Rush comes in, finishes the rest of that game, whatever, Cowboys lose. Well, come the next 4 games, Cowboys win. And Cowboy fans or people on social media were like, well, they don't need Dak Prescott. They're winning 4 straight games with Cooper Rush. He's undefeated. He's never lost as the Dallas Cowboy.
Right.
And then that game that you're talking about comes, plays against Philadelphia Eagles, throws 3 interceptions, and people are like,
get him out of
get
here.
his ass out of here.
When
And
is Dak
it's like,
coming back?
dude, he was just undefeated. You guys were saying you don't need Dak anymore. Now everybody's like, get this bum out of here. Go to Dak Prescott. And everybody was happy to see when Dak Prescott finally came back. So I get what you're saying from that standpoint. I want to save your takes, though, for the film. All right, so we're about to get into it right now. Raymond says, who was the best receiver in 2017? I think in that season, obviously it was Marquise Goodwin. George Kittle was coming on late, right? He wasn't the George Kittle he's now, but he was coming on late. But regardless of whoever his best weapon is, the guys that were winning were able to win in a way to where, like, that matched with Jimmy's skill set. So Trent Taylor. That was like the best version of Trent Taylor that we ever saw, right? He was a slant god. He was 100% on his slants for the year with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like there was not one incompletion. They didn't not connect one time. And so maybe it wasn't like these polarizing names. It definitely wasn't the weapons that are with the 49ers right now, but it was it was guys that worked for him. It was guys that worked for him. And Trent worked for him, and that late year George Kittle worked for him, and Marquise Goodwin late in the year, like that worked for him in that time. So enough of that. Are you ready to get to this film?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Shout out to everybody that's live in the chat right now. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Man, we are going live. I gotta pull it up real quick. My bad. Pause. And it is. Oops. There we go. All right. I'm excited to get into this because a lot of people are very interested in this. Is Terradome in here? I hope that Terradome is in here because Terradome was extremely upset last week when we only had, what was it, like 3 plays of the game. He was hot. He was hot in the chat.
Last week's episode was good, though. Having Will on there was really good. I think
that was better than any film.
Yeah, that was a good insight, and I always found myself learning stuff when I talked to Will. He's one of the best in the business for a reason, so I think it was cool to hear some insight on him, especially talking about the miles per hour, like Brock gaining 5 miles an hour on the throw, just going through some of the biomechanics breakdowns and the mechanic breakdowns and sequencing and tying in his hips, his arm, and all of that. That is stuff that not a lot of people get to hear, and luckily we had it on here. So really cool. Terrell, how many plays tonight? I don't know. There's like 12 plays on here, I think.
Yeah, there was something like that. There were a couple throws that we didn't. He had back-to-back throws. We did not get it on here. I thought about just throwing it in here, but I felt like there were already enough plays. And in an hour and a half, I actually have to record Locked On the NFL Draft. So I was like, okay, we probably won't be able to go that long. So I didn't add those 2 plays. But it was that kind of. It looked like one those deep stops, and it was on the drive right before halftime. And he hit those guys, like good timing, driving the throw to Brandon Ayuk in that hole. Didn't shy away from it, threw it like what he saw, and then came back like a play or 2 later, threw the same route to Ray McLeod on that drive. So I thought that was really good. All right, but here we go. You got the first play here.
This is the first play of the game. Yeah, this one is the first play of the game. I think if everybody heard it on TV, you hear Brock, he gets up there and says, kill, 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 or alert, alert, alert. So basically.
And then do you want to talk about what the guy said back to him on defense?
I didn't even catch it. What did he say?
He said, hey, shut that shit up. You didn't catch that?
No, I didn't catch it.
I tweeted it out, and everybody was like, man, I thought I was tripping. Like, yeah, it was loud. It was loud. I don't know
I didn't catch it.
There's no ref by him. I'm like, was there a ref by him or something? Like, why did it pick it up so loud? It picked it up pretty good.
The basis of that is, and I think we've talked about it before, but for those who don't know, let's say Kyle calls in a play, and not most plays, but some plays within the NFL on offense will have another play built into it. So when you give the play, there's a second play that is built into it. So when he says kill, 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 the first play's dead, and now they're working into the second play. And that's what they're doing here. So they obviously got a look on defense that they really liked. And so the problem is with this is when he killed it, the line is doing a half slide to the left. So
you want me to go to the back view?
Yeah, you can go to the back view. So what happens here is the Trent and Banks are sliding to the left here. And then they're man up on the left side, and then we slide. Wait, no, they slide. I'm sorry, they do slide to the left, and then McGlinchey and Burford are basically man up on the right side. Well, they bring the pressure from the right side, and if they would have slid it to the right, we would have been probably decent in the protection here, but ends up sliding to the left, and then those two are on their own to the right side, and then we bring an extra guy off of the edge there, and that guy is basically Brock is responsible for him.
So Brock is responsible for it, and it looks like it's 22 coming. So
yep. So
this
here's
guy
the thing,
right here.
So Kittle and Juszczyk are both out, right? So if they would have slid it to the right, let's say they flipped that half man, half slide, Brendel would have had Brendel's help to the right, and then they would be 2 for 2 on the backside to the left. So Banks and Trent would have been 2 for 2 on the backside, and they would have borrowed Brendel on this one, and it would have been half slide from Brendel over. So they would have been 3 for 3 on the right side, and then 2 for 2 on the backside. So we would have been all right. But in this instance right here, they end up bringing that extra guy off the edge. So right here, Brock's got his eyes down the field, and people got to understand, how do you not see that guy? How do you not see that guy? Well, if you have a quarterback that is looking at the D lineman, he's not going to play quarterback in the NFL for very long. His eyes are legitimately locked on downfield. So the thing is right now you could say, okay, he can hit Ayuk, but Ayuk is not even ready for the ball, right? The play hasn't even gotten into its development, so he's not ready for the ball anyways. And so this, if you could tell what Kittle's doing. So Kittle and Juszczyk are kind of doing the same thing here, which I put in my notes. They're basically running the same route right next to each other, so the spacing is terrible. And so none of them look like they're ready for the ball. So that tells me that it's this one of these other natural pick plays. They're trying to get Ayuk the ball, but I don't think Ayuk is anticipating getting the ball that quick, right? So like by the time he wants
because Ayuk, I think he's reading this guy, and this might have been a scenario where I don't know, but a lot of times they'll tell these guys to settle in the soft spot. So
Right, but because it's a pick play, so you got Juszczyk and
Okay.
Kittle working across, he's got to clear that area. So
okay,
who's number 45? What's his name for
that's
the
White, I believe, right?
Yeah. So basically, he's looking at White. Okay, if White gets picked, he's going to dump it off to Ayuk, and he redirects. So see his eye, he'll see the left side. We'll call him the Mike. Kittle takes him, and by the time he's about to get his eyes back to Ayuk right now, it's too late. He gets clocked. So it's one of those ones where you got to chalk it up as an L. The protection wasn't right for this particular blitz that they brought. And he would have been hot to Ayuk here if he had it or if he had recognized the blitz, but instead it's a lost play here. But I don't know, again, by the looks of Kittle and Juszczyk doing the same thing, I don't know if one of those guys was supposed to stay in on protection. It almost looks like one of those guys jacked it up in the play here, just because look at the spacing behind him, and they're doing the exact same thing. So most route concepts, if it's a true concept, you're not going to get spacing three guys in the middle of the field that close together like that, especially on a pick play like this. So, yeah, I think that somebody had messed up here. Oh, no, we lost Crocker. Can everybody still hear me, or is Crocker just out? Hey, this is my show. Croc, get your ass out of here. I'm running the damn thing now. Tornado dropped on his damn house right now, and he's out of here.
All right.
Oh, there he is. Look at him.
Now I don't know how good my connection is going to be because I'm using my cellular hotspot, but
Man, get your ass out of here. I'm about to run this by myself. It would be a comedy hour here.
no,
Power just
we're
went out?
good.
Is the power out and you still have internet?
The power is completely out.
So are you on your phone now? Or you're on your laptop, but you have battery on it now?
I'm using my laptop.
Oh, this is going to be good.
I'm using my laptop, but I'm on my phone's hotspot.
This is going to be real good.
Yeah. Well, so for those of you that came in late, we have like a tornado warning. We're going through like a super storm right now. So,
I thought I was.
but I don't care.
point.
I'll die for this shit.
I really thought I was running point right now, man.
Nah. I'm back. Just in the dark. All right, you ready?
See, let's go.
I'll die for this shit. All right, hold on. I like saying that. I don't know why. I definitely didn't. But
That's what I said. Right.
All right, hopefully this isn't too.
Just dropped on his damn head right now.
I know. Hopefully this isn't too wacky.
Yeah,
or whatever.
otherwise, I'd do this by myself, but I have no clue how to run the whole StreamYard and all that stuff. So it would be a shit show.
Yeah. All right. Let me just put this. Hold on. My power is out. And then can I post that? There we go. There we go. All right. Just so people know. All right. Here we go. We good with the film? Is it showing good?
It's rolling for now. This is the second play. So a couple of people asked about this. This looks like another natural pick play here. Okay, so they're in a single high. Okay, so the single high look, and the one thing that I think could have been a little bit better here is you can tell that Ayuk is trying to pick off that linebacker right there. So we get the guy coming off the edge on the bottom half. Okay, McCaffrey comes across, picks him up. Now you basically it's 2-on-2, and what we're trying to do is get this backer that's playing the number 44, I think it is, or 54, whoever that is, with a towel hanging right there. You're trying to pick him off basically naturally to where it's legal and dump that ball off to Deebo Samuel right now. But I think in this situation, especially right here, I would like to see Ayuk just carry on to a slant. If you get to a single high, slants work great against single high, cover three, man coverage. Slants are great, and he could run that slant right off his ass here instead of trying to do the pick, and Purdy would be able to hit him in the window, and he's off to the races. But
so you're saying this window right here?
Right there. If he continues on the slant, he's off to the races. But instead, they try and make it a pick play, and it happens so fast that Deebo's not ready for the ball anyways. So he ends up.
It looked like Deebo maybe wanted to take it up. I think Deebo was looking at it like, oh, I have this linebacker coming out. I can beat him up the field, and I think that's what he just kind of looking at his reaction. Obviously, like not on the same page with the timing of it or what they were trying to do, but it looked like Deebo's like, hey, like I'm gonna outrun this guy vertically as opposed to just getting it to me right now. That's what it looked like. But
and he throttles it up a little bit right out the backfield. It's not like he just goes now. Like he'll throttle, then he'll take off now.
Yeah,
So he's trying to make it like a slow play to get the backer to kind of hang in, and then he'll bust out of there. But again, it's one of those pick plays.
And watch his reaction too. When
they do this so much with the offense. There's so many pick plays in here.
Watch his reaction.
He's looking like it was a little bit rough to start out, to say the least. Yeah, it was not ideal. He was not even he had no clue what's going on. So I threw that in there just because people had asked me about it. But it's one of those pick plays that just clearly didn't work. But I would have liked to see Ayuk run one of those a slant there. If it's man coverage, I think that probably does work a little bit, maybe a little bit better, like true man. But on to the next one. So, which play you got here?
All right, here we go.
Are you out of order again? You're out of order again.
Am I? Did you not want this play? I think it's the next play that you wanted, huh?
Yeah.
I had this on there, and I'm like, wait, did I put the wrong play? Sometimes I have a play rolling, and
no, it's all good. All right. That was a good naked boot fake, though. Really good fake, but they ended up chipping the defensive end on the back that was coming back in, so it ended up working out.
So this is the play you wanted, right?
This is one of the plays on here.
Okay.
But this is not the play, though. This is definitely...
it's not the play.
This is one of the other ones. Yeah, it's all good. We'll make it work. This was a misdirection. All we're trying to do here, they're trying to get the defense to flow. So Deebo, obviously you watch all the guys flow with Deebo. Okay? So they're trying to high-low, basically the outside linebacker, which is what they end up doing here, or buy time to get everybody to flow with Deebo. Okay, so they're in a single high look again. They played a lot of single high look. So this is just like a base cover 3 look. And then it turns into, like the both corners, or the corner is busting out of there. So you watch the top corner, he busts out vertical. You got a guy playing in center field, and then you got the other corner busting out of there. So it's base cover 3 here. And so what they're trying to do is get everybody to flow with Deebo, and they bring McCaffrey back across. And if it was man coverage, somebody would have went in with McCaffrey and then right back out. So right away, with nobody moving with Christian McCaffrey, it's zone coverage. So they get the defense to flow, and then the read here is Jennings coming across. So Jennings is running this big over route, and it's there. It is there. There's a good window zone opportunity for him to throw a layered ball. Unfortunately, the protection gets thrown off a little bit here.
And real quick, Danny Gray here, he's just running clear.
That's what I was going to say. So Danny Gray's in the game. What is Danny Gray doing? He is just taking
He's going vertical.
Off. So you're trying to get the defense to carry, and that's exactly what happens. So that free safety's got to push, and then that opens up that window for Jennings to come across, and then you also hold the corner
open
with
up that window. Sorry. Go ahead.
Then you open you open up the window with McCaffrey sitting low in the flat there. You'll see in the rear view. I like the action with the protection, and they do this somewhat frequent, where they get Banks flowing on the pole protection, and then the problem is with that is Brendel gets torched in the middle, and that's why Purdy has to basically make something out of nothing, and he dumps it off to Kittle. But if you watch Banks, go ahead and go slow with it. So Banks pulls, and then Brendel has to set to the 3-tech right there. So the 3-tech, he sets to him, and then he oversets. So see how he starts to lean? He oversets, and then his feet get tangled up there. But he's got to reach to the 3 technique. And so he reaches and gets too far, and then what does he do? He pushes him and then goes right back inside, swim move, and now he's chasing him. I think right here at that point,
reset and throw that to Jennings.
I was going to say, so you could push, slide away, boom, put your foot in the ground, and now that ball's out to Jennings, right? I think that's something that Brock Purdy will eventually do. It's still the game is flying to him right now, I'm sure, and he's trying to make something out of nothing, and I'm glad that he does, and he gets out of it here. But slide left, boom, reset, and then actually put your foot in the ground, and you'd be able to get that ball out to Jennings with a nice layered throw over the top. So,
Yeah.
And that's something that we saw Trey do against the Bears. I know that was one of his better throws that he had against the Bears, that big time layered throw in the monsoon that he was dealing with. But it was the same. I think it was the same concept. I'd have to go back.
Nah, the one that he had, what you're talking about.
It was the same route. It was the same route. It was an over route, right?
It was you're talking about on the first drive when he hit Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, the big layered
when he
throw
stepped
that
up.
was like
Yeah,
money.
they got pushed. Yeah. He slid up in the pocket and then made that layered throw to Ayuk.
Yep. It's exactly what it is. So I think that would be like the critical, if I was going to critique, maybe keep your eyes upfield, put your foot in the ground and be able to drive that ball to Jennings over the top. But I'm glad that Brock's able to get out of it. And clearly, it was just some error here on the O-line. And so he made something out of nothing. So I'll give him some props for it.
Yeah, that was nice. And those are some of the things, just kind of off script. Obviously, it was kind of right in front of him. So that was good. Like once he slid up in the pocket, and I do like the subtle movement in the pocket. But, okay, I slid up in here. I'm working here. Then, boom. Okay, this is right in front of my face. And I think that made it easier for him as opposed to this, which is a little more.
You are all jacked up on the order here, bud.
Am I?
Yeah, you're all over the place with the order. It's okay.
Back. Here we go. All right, my power's back on.
This one, I put this one down. I'm trying to find it in the notes here. I got like 5 pages of notes. But this was one of the better throws that I thought that that Brock Purdy had made within the game. And I think that's something that a lot of people had given him props for. It was the sexy throw, right? Or that sexy
do you think
movement.
that Brock smokes Trey Lusionals at all levels?
I don't know what a Trey Lusional is, but it probably sounds like Jesse Naylor. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Jesse.
Jesse.
I love Jesse.
I'm tweeting Jesse.
I was texting Jesse after the game the other night. We were talking crap to each other, and I didn't even know, but I found out Jesse was an Oregon fan. We were talking about how I used to work at Oregon, but I didn't even know that. But yeah, I was sending him the hear me out text that I send you from time to time just to get him all riled up. So, but no, this one was one of the better plays, and I don't know. I have so many damn notes. Oh, here it is. So what they're trying to do here is just misdirection. And this is something like as a QB trainer, we work this constant. So you'll see the defensive end push, and then he'll peel off. And the redirection, like this is a drill that we work a ton where you're going blind or you sprint out and that defensive end comes off. And now this shows the athleticism of defensive end. Like if you look at the recovery speed here where he's able to redirect from here, boom. And now he's off to the races. Like most quarterbacks back in the day could probably continue wide and continue on their rollout. Now you get defensive ends that are just freaks, right? Outside linebackers, playing in a 3-4 that are able to do that. But this is something where you put your foot in the ground now and realign your body. And what he does, boom, he put his foot in the ground and then he'll attack downhill, coil the front shoulder. The ball's out, delivers a dime. I think this to me was one of the better plays, if not the best play that he's had so far. And it's not that great to a lot of people, but I think that to be able to stop like that, it looks like he's out there just hooping, right? Like he's having fun with it. He's playing. Basically, we say that sometimes he's hooping. He's playing basketball.
Oh, yeah, me and my homeboys, he's hooping, yep.
He's out there hooping right now. He's doing his own thing. He's feeling it. Boom, delivers the ball. And it's not this absolute dart, but it doesn't have to be. And I think it's a great move. But to be able to attack downhill, coil up that front shoulder, get enough torque on the ball, and then and obviously move the chain. So that was a big-time play.
Yeah.
Very, very
I think I got
Caleb
the rest
Williams
of it because
and Bryce Young-esque right there.
Right.
Or James
now, when you talk about those guys, right, now, and here's the difference, I guess you could say, in the 7th round pick and maybe somebody that goes higher, with those guys, you get the same result, it just might look a little different in the sense of how the ball comes out of your hand.
Right.
Is that like what when you talk about Caleb Williams is probably going to go number 1 overall?
Yes,
Right.
I would like to think so.
When he does that, it like pops.
It's
and
popping.
I know a lot of people are like arm strength doesn't matter because he completed, so that's awesome.
That's
just
what
know,
I gotta
like-
tell people sometimes. It's coming a little bit harder from certain guys, but at the end of the day, what really matters is the result, not necessarily how you got there, right?
Right.
I think if the 49ers won a Super Bowl, Trent Dilfer's got a Super Bowl forever, right? There's a lot of people that are going to bash him, but nobody could take away the Super Bowl ring. He won the damn Super Bowl. If Jimmy G won a Super Bowl, at the end of the day, regardless of how many people talk shit about Jimmy Garoppolo, if Jimmy won a Super Bowl with the 49ers, I would like to think that most of them wouldn't give a shit at the end of the day as long as they won the Super Bowl. And I've told you that
Right.
before. I don't care how they win. They just win the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at that point. It's just like, just win the Super Bowl. I don't care who's back there doing it, and I don't care how it's done. Figure out a way to
All
do
right.
it. So I don't know what play's coming up next, but because you're a little
Sorry.
bit out of order here. It's okay. We're good.
My apologies. My stepdad, he told me when I was a kid, don't say sorry to people, but I apologize.
What if you mess up? What if it's on you?
He said, don't say sorry.
Well, tell him to call
said
me.
it shows-
Tell him
he
we need to
said-
have a talk.
He said it shows weakness. So just think about how that fucked me up, right? Like I go throughout my whole life and it's like I ain't saying sorry to nobody. Like, hey, you did this. Yeah, I like I ain't saying
But
sorry
do
though.
you ever say that to Stevie? Like if you fuck up at home, do you ever just say, "Hey, I'm sorry, babe," or just like, "No, I'm not saying it. I'm not weak." Inside your head, you got like the good guy, and then you got like the devil on the shoulder, and he's like, "Don't say it, don't say
Right,
it."
I got-
Croc's like, "Fuck, I'm
you know,
not saying
Eric-
it today."
I got Croc the podcaster and Valverde Park Eric on one show, right? I have had to learn over the years how to, be a little bit more mature about how I think. So,
Yeah. Sometimes you can
all
say
right.
sorry, but you don't have to mean it anyways.
right, here we go. Did you want this play? No, huh?
Croc, bro, what is going on here?
I
We
know,
might as
dude, I
well
don't
look at
know.
it. While it's on here, we might as well just look at it. Let me look at it for a
Okay.
second here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I don't know. Maybe I did. The one, actually, I did. I wanted to point this out really quick. I put this on there as a quick one. Again, Niners being one execution away, one spring away from actually busting it big here. So Juszczyk gets through the hole. So 45 there. It's white, correct?
Yeah.
So he thinks he's going. Christian McCaffrey's realistically supposed to follow Juszczyk. So they're trying to push it wide. And on the toss here, Juszczyk gets up. If he seals off, it's a wrap, right? He's got 35 to deal with and maybe the linebacker, but instead he tries to cut it back inside, and it makes it a hard reach to redirect for Juszczyk, and that's why the tackle was made right there. So you see Juszczyk turns, and it's too late, right? So that's the good thing about really good linebackers like him is they read, patient, boom. He redirects and makes a stop in the hole. So that was one of those ones where I think if Juszczyk was able to get there, I think it could have sprung something a little bit more. But I wanted to point that out just because I didn't want it to be the complete Brock Purdy show, even though I'm sure that some people wouldn't be offended by it. But, yeah, that was one of those ones where I was like, damn, man, if he kept on it, maybe something would have sprung. But that was a hard play for Juszczyk to get there.
Let's see what
which
this
one
is
you have
first.
here. Oh yeah, so he's recognizing hot here. So they blitz hot off the defensive end here. So this is, again, you can call it a 4-man front, you can call it a 3-man front, whatever it may be. But basically, it's just
Technically,
It's
it's not
not-
a blitz if you only send
it's-
4.
I was gonna say, so technically this isn't a zone blitz, but basically they're just bringing we'll call him
They call
the
it
Mike
simulated
here.
pressure. Simulated pressure, is that what they call it? Something like that.
Yeah. So all they're doing is replacing. So they're bringing 4. If you watch the linebacker here that's playing in the middle of the logo, he sprints and replaces where the blitzer came from, and then they drop the D end off to basically into that little hook zone. So again, it's still a 1 high look. But the one thing you'll see here and I'll give Brock props because we have a half man, half slide protection, and they overload. So they overloaded the right side. It almost looks balanced to an extent, and then he'll start to step up. So 54 will start to step up when really they're bringing 45, and then number 9 drops off. And so they actually had the protection sliding to 54 and to number 9. And that's where I think, again, you got to kind of stay. It's more of like a balanced look, but you got to stay with it. And Brock does a good job of hanging in there. So go ahead and play it, and you'll see the slide go the other way here, away from the blitz. So see how Brendel sets, and then he'll get back in the middle. And then at this point, Brock recognizes the blitzer, the defensive end coming wide. So Brock sees him right here, right? He creates space, pushes back towards the middle, but he's ballsy, man, because if you look at his eyes, he's looking up the field right now. He knows the blitzer is coming. He sees him right out the snap, right here. That's why he pushes, right? So he creates space. He's still looking up the field for something else, and then last second, what does he do? Flip the ball off to Deebo Samuel. Dude is ballsy, man.
Is this considered throwing across your body? Because they tell you don't throw
this, but on a shorter throw like this, it doesn't matter. You got to make a play.
Okay.
This is a 10-yard throw max, right? And it's not really across your body it is to an extent. But if you watch him last second, what he'll do is he'll square up his backside hip a little bit more to Deebo. He'll flash the shoulder. So if you can see it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this angle, but what he'll do is he'll pivot his back foot, and then right at the contact, what does he do? He gets his hips and shoulders back square to Deebo right there at the release. Look at his back foot. So he gets his body square. That's something we work constantly. Is a great recognition, great throw. Ability to hang in tight when there's pressure. Like, I give him props. It's not easy to do as a rookie, and he's out here just doing it. So some people say it's a zone blitz. So realistically, a zone blitz is as a 5-man pressure, and this was just a 4-man pressure. So all they're doing is moving people around. It's still a 4-man. We should have been good for it, but the slide where the guys are setting to the opposite way, and then what they do is they eventually bring Brendel over to help with that. I think it was the 1 or the 0. So he'll set to the right. Yeah, it's a 3 technique. So Brendel, so they'll push inside, and then Brendel's able to pick him up and help out with that guard. So you got 2 for 1 on top, and then you got 3 for 3 on the bottom. So that's where I got a little bit tangled up here. But overall, I thought it was really good. Really good for Brock Purdy to recognize that, hang in there, and deliver the ball. So I give him props for it. This one I put on there. This one isn't necessarily like when people watch a game, you see a play like this, it's a flash screen, and people think, oh shit, it's just a short pass, whatever. They bring the blitz, like it was set up because they blitz off the edge there, and you got a somewhat softer corner, and then that safety's playing on the hash. So if your guys get out there, it's money. That probably should have been a touchdown based off how the defense was playing them. But what I wanted to say is,
yeah, because it's like you. Well, I think what happened was 26 kind of getting held up by McGlinchey. Should McGlinchey kind of let 26 through?
You could,
or he just gets in his way.
You get it. Basically, you just get in his way, or you don't want him to jump. So it's one of those ones where if they jump, like you'll see the lineman basically hit him in the nuts, essentially, because you don't want him to bat down that ball or put his hands in Brock Purdy's face. It's not that he's going to sack Purdy; it's just him getting in the way of the actual throw. But what I wanted to say is, this is like for a quarterback trainer. This is something that's tougher for younger guys to do because hand size. And I don't know if somebody has the information on his hand size. I didn't look and see how big Brock's hands are. I couldn't imagine they're any much bigger than maybe 9.5 max, 9.25. But to be able to grip the ball and flip and throw this like you're turning 2, this is like turning 2 in baseball here. And most of the time when you get this in the shotgun, you don't really have the greatest grip on it. So he catches it and is able to flip that quick and delivers a strike, I thought this was absolute money. I will say you would expect this out of NFL quarterbacks, but out of rookies being able to do this, like this is legit. So Jimmy was also pretty good at being able to throw these balls. I'm assuming Trey's good at throwing these too. So I'll spread the love across the quarterback room. But for the rookie to be able to do this, it's not as easy as people think to be able to grip the ball like that and just throw it.
Because you're throwing it probably without laces, huh?
You're throwing it without laces, and your hand placement on the ball is not always the greatest either. So
I saw someone, who was it? I watched throw it the other night, and it was a wobbler. And this one right here, like, I don't know how much y'all can see, but I could see the ball kind of wobbling.
Yeah,
but
it wobbles
that's
a little bit, but it's a short, like literally it's a throw, and you just got to get the ball. Just has to get there. Nobody cares what it looks like. Just get it there, right?
Right.
And so I think.
But I'm saying it's the throwing without laces, where it's like that is it's just difficult.
That and like I said, you get the ball in the gun, and your hand might be on top of the ball, might be on the bottom of it. It might not. It might be in the direct middle of it. It's not going to always be in the spot where you would hold the laces. So, yeah, 9 point. So yeah, 9 1/4. So I was pretty close to it on the hand size. So the 9 1/4 it's I'd say probably below average for NFL hand size as far as quarterbacks.
I think ideally they want 10.
Yeah, 10
right?
is nice.
Like
my hands are 9, and that's not very big. Like Joe Burrow's
your hands are 9?
Mine are 9s. Yeah, mine are small compared to
yeah, mine are 9 1/4.
So, but then you got, like I said, guys like Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott has the biggest hands out of any quarterback in the league. He's like 11-inch hands.
Really?
And they measure it. So for people that don't know, where's the camera at? So they measure it from here to here. So from here, straight across, that's how they would measure it. So mine are 9 from here to here. Like I said, Josh's, I think, is like 10 5/8, something like that. Odell Beckham's I think are close to 11. Jarvis Landry's are close to 11. So that's why you see those guys being able to make one-handed catches. It's like they're catching a damn youth ball. So, yeah, 9.
Yeah, somebody said 9 is basically. I don't think 9 is basic. I think 9 is like that's like
depends on what you're talking. If we're talking football,
oh, okay,
average.
Right.
Never mind.
Stop it. Now you're talking about getting shocked. All right, here we go. What do we have here? I don't even know if this was. Did you want this on here?
No, for sure not.
Okay. Then it's going to next to the touchdown.
You're all over it today. You're probably doing this while you're training people, huh?
Nah.
It was this one, I think. This is the boot. Oh, it's play action. So this is like front side boot action. So it's this play action. He's getting out. This is a high-low. Really, it's a low, mid to high read. Mid is coming across late. So for the first read is Kittle now. Okay? And what you're trying to do is basically get Kittle now, let him turn it up the field and run. So you're trying to cause a little misdirection with that motion, and White's not having it. But at this point where he knows he's not going to throw it to Kittle, he ends up, who's that, Dwelly, right? He's trying to get it to Dwelly. The defensive back has his back to
81 is Croft, I think.
Croft. Is it? I'm all confused.
Yeah, I don't think that. 82 is Dwelly.
Dwelly, yes, you're right. So they're trying to get it to him right now. Or excuse me, they're trying to get it to Kittle right now. I think he's got to work off of Kittle a little bit quicker, especially with a defensive back or a strong safety that has his back to you. And you got a big tight end. It's one of those ones where ideally you want to throw that to the back of the end zone over his head.
So you're saying right here, boom, if you're not going to throw it to him, then right now,
there, maybe
move
one
on.
more step.
Ball should be out.
Ball's got to be out now towards the back of the pylon or towards the back pylon there. And it's high and away from that defensive back. And he hangs on. And by the time he does get it out, he's got about 3 yards of space with somebody who's running full speed. It ends up working out for them at the end of the day just because there was pass interference. But right here, and he just does it a little bit. See how there's not much room to work in the back corner of the end zone. So once he sees that defensive back, he knows he's not going to Kittle now. He got to get his eyes up and get that ball out a little bit sooner. But again, rookie going through it, red zone, everything's a little bit tighter. I would expect him, obviously, to take those shots or maybe put it over the top a little bit more moving forward, and something he'll probably learn from. I guarantee he's watching the film thinking, damn, I could have had him now. But the read is a low to the flat, then it's high, and then you'd have that mid coming across late.
So what is that conversation like in the meeting room? Is it just, hey, next time, like, if you aren't going to throw it to Kittle here, move off him quicker.
It's just don't get
and
stuck.
throw it to the back of the defensive back. Because that's what they tell him, right? Throw it to his back, the DB's back.
Throw it over the top, and God forbid if it's not a completion, we live to see another play here. So it's just don't get stuck on the flat route. Move on, and make that decision just a touch quicker. So that's why I put that one in there. But it ended up working out for them because it was pass interference at the end of the day. So.
All right, here we go. Next play.
This one here, I believe this was his touchdown.
Right.
So this was another one of those ones I put in there. It's like the natural picks that we try to do here. And it takes too long to develop. And look at the spacing in the middle of the field.
Yeah, you got 4 guys within 5 yards.
4 guys standing in the middle of the field. And that's one of my issues. You see this a lot. It's not like this is just something that happened to this week. It's happened with Jimmy. It's happened with Trey. There's a lot of routes, a lot of things coming in tight together where you would like to see a little bit more spacing, because now you put your quarterback in a bind when nobody's open, right? And they're trying to do this pick play, and I think they're trying to get Ayuk coming across with it's Kittle, or no, it's Deebo and Juszczyk doing the they're trying to get Kittle across. Okay. So they're trying to get Kittle coming across, and then you got Juszczyk and Deebo working this way, and then you got Ayuk coming over the top of them. So everybody's working to the middle of the field. And then you got McCaffrey going out. So what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is pull the linebacker with McCaffrey, and he stays home and lets the corner pick it up. And so the linebacker right there that's over Deebo doesn't move wide. And so in that case, if they move wide, now you're basically reading the Mike linebacker. So the middle Mike backer. So let's keep an eye on 45. So 54 is the read. 54 doesn't get wide, but if he did, now White is the only linebacker in the middle of the field, which is he's to the right of your mouse there.
He would have to pick, right? Like he'd
have to pick between one of them, right? So you can see Brock Purdy's looking where right now?
To his right, over here.
He's looking over in this area, right? He's looking in that zone, trying to get 54 to get wide, and then now White would have to make a decision. Is he going to take Kittle? Is he going to take Juszczyk? Take Deebo? Is he going to take Ayuk? Right? There's too much traffic going on. And so, I don't know if somebody messed this up, but there's just a lot of traffic in the middle of the field, and you'd like to see a little bit more spacing. But out of all of this, McGlinchey gets pushed really wide, and that's a tough reach. So that guy's his stand-up. We'll call him the wide 9, number 94. McGlinchey's got to go. He ends up basically getting him outside the pocket. So I'd say for this situation here, a lot of people would say this might not be a win for McGlinchey. He does well enough to create a pocket, right? The issue is Brunskill gets pushed back and basically bull rushed, and that's what collapses the pocket. So there's nowhere for Brock Purdy to step up.
It's not like he could have stepped up and just slid.
Yeah, so McGlinchey's taught, obviously, if he's going to ride him wide, he's going to ride him wide, right? And then now you can step up and you have yourself a pocket. But because Brunskill gets in his face, he says, screw it, I'm going to take it myself. He's got those young little rookie legs, and he makes something out of nothing there. And I love the fire, man. I love the fire.
Oh, yeah. You see, I could have stopped it when he ran to the end zone. I was like, nah, let's see the fire.
Yeah, like he's chest bumping up and down. Yeah, exactly. Getting real Stockton on him right there. All right, this is the infamous play here, and
don't run Deebo in the middle of the field. That's what I've seen all over.
But here's the thing.
I know. No, I'm just telling you what I've seen on social media. Now I'm ready for you.
Don't run Deebo in the middle of the field, and this play is not designed for Deebo to go to the middle of the field. I'm partial to it because we do have running backs that are capable. But we have found a position for Deebo to play outside of playing receiver and getting the ball into his hands. I think
the wide back thing is the real thing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I think we need to acknowledge that first.
Yeah, for sure.
I have talked to a lot of people like, nah, man, like he's a receiver first and he just does running back things. You know, he's a receiver first and he's this and he could do all this and that. But I feel like even last year, but like even more so this year, it is very clear he has his own position, which is a wide back. So I think we would think that like, oh, don't run him in the middle, don't run him, don't do this, don't do that. But what he is so unique. And part of what he is someone that in a pinch or in a situation will put his foot in the ground and he might not run outside. He might run into a lot of bodies because of what he is. So I think a lot of people just have to get out of their heads that, I mean, just think about all the catches you've seen him make so far in this game. How deep are they? Everything has been at or right around the line of scrimmage, right? Like they have his usage now is not this deep guy. Is not this. It is within really, kind of a 10-yard radius of the line of scrimmage.
Right. And
like,
here's the thing.
It's not this
you paid him,
so this is part of it.
And you paid him for a reason, right? You didn't just give him money to have 4 catches a game and just that's it, right? Like this was part of the deal. You're going to get a good amount of money because you can do things like this. And I get it. We were up 21-0. But how many times, let's go back to the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan was up 20-3 against Tom Brady, and what happened there? Right? You never really want to keep the dude in the game. And I thought the 28 points would have been a good enough one, but this is one of those ones. It's like, and Kyle's not calling play calls just to say, screw it. So-and-so is probably getting hurt on this play. We're going to move along, right? Like the thing that happened with Deebo, he's trying to get extra yards. The thing that happened with Trey, he's trying to get yards. The thing that happened with Jimmy, it's unfortunate part of football that shit like this just happens. And it's nobody's fault at the end of the day. It's football. That's the only excuse for it. And these guys know what is going on. And if Deebo didn't want to run this play, Deebo could have said, no, somebody else go in there and run it. I'm not running up the middle. I don't want to get hurt here. It's just part of ball, unfortunately. So if you go back, go to the wider angle from the sideline cam, and you could look at where he should have gone. I think that he needs to. So go ahead and slow play it so we can look at the whole here. But realistically, they're bringing Kittle across in the motion, so he's going to follow Kittle. He should go right through that hole. Trent has it looks like he holds him there. But Kittle is working wide and does a really good job. This is what makes George Kittle good. If you watch him seal right here on the edge, if Deebo went right off of Kittle's ass right now, look at Kittle seal that. Now point to that hole right there. There you go. Now he's one-on-one with a safety. That's what they're trying to accomplish. Instead, Deebo looks back inside instead of following his tight end, and it's just a shitty deal. Like, nobody's happy about it. Maybe everybody else that's in the NFC West is happy about it, but nobody on the Niners is happy about it. It's one of those freak accidents. Shit happens, unfortunately, and realistically, the blocking was there. I think he could have followed Kittle, and he would have been one-on-one with a safety, and it's off to the races. I think everybody loves to see that matchup in the wide-open field with Deebo and a safety. I think we'd take that all day. So,
what do you think about, and I just saw the comment in the chat, so that's why I wanted to make sure I brought it up. You see this comment here from Michael, and he's right. Like a lot of the people I've heard talk about it, it's the situation of it.
I agree.
But what you're saying is, well, where he ran is not what it was designed to do. So at the end of the day, part of Deebo's usage is getting handoffs, and this play was specifically designed to get him out on the edge, and he cut it back. And not to say that, well, that's not Kyle's fault, right? But it's just that is going to be part of Deebo's usage. And
right.
I think that's the part that we have
Mason in. You could put McCaffrey in. You could put Davis in. Again, you could, right? But you're paying somebody a lot of money to do those things, right? To be on the field and do what Deebo's doing. So I get both sides. I really do. But at the same time, there is a reason why they paid Deebo, and it's to do the wide back things that he's doing, not just play wide receiver anymore. And I think that Deebo Samuel is better with the ball in his hands than when the ball is not in his hands. And we've talked about that on our film before.
We didn't show the play earlier, but there was a play early in the game where he scored a touchdown on the run where he was able to get the edge, and he ends up scoring.
I'm almost positive it was very, very similar, maybe the exact same play.
Right. Because, again, if this play, and I'll go back one more time, and we're not saying that, this is Deebo's fault that he got hurt. We're just talking about the play. If the play goes to where it's designed to go, and he does follow Kittle through here, maybe he gets tackled by him, or maybe they call holding or whatever, but he hits the edge, and then that's the Deebo that and it's like, well, of course, of course he ran him and he gets to the outside, right? Because, it is sealed off, like you said. Look, Juwan Jennings, great job here. Kittle, great job here. He gets that, and like you said, one-on-one with the safety. That's what it was designed to do. So regardless of the situation, you're up multiple scores, it's the second quarter, whatever, it was designed to go here, and he saw something different in the heat of the moment and cut back. And it's just but you don't not call the play for him because of the circumstance. It's like, no, this is how we use Deebo.
And that was the same conversation we had about Trey. Why are they running Trey so much? Well, it's because Trey brings that different dynamic to the football game, like Jalen Hurts brings to the football game, like what Kyler Murray did. But, it's an unfortunate situation for him. And you call those plays because you think that it can throw the defense off or put guys in a good position to succeed or make them stay honest. And Trey kept the ball and went up the middle, and he got hurt. Deebo cuts it back, goes up the middle, he got hurt. Again, like, yes, you would like to bounce things outside, but these guys also know they've been playing football their whole life. There's times you got to go up the middle multiple times a game, and you got to put your head down and take the hits and bounce back up and keep on rolling. So it's an unfortunate thing, but luckily I'm glad to hear, because I thought right away that's ligaments. It's over for him. And it turns out to be a sprain on the MCL, so I like that. I'll take it for what it looked like. I'll take that. This one right here.
Play here. So somebody on my morning show, shout out to the morning show listeners. He said that it was a bad throw to Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, I kind of made this face like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, that was a dot. He threw it to the pylon. He threw the ball downfield like it was a touchdown. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, bad throw? Like, if there was a bad, quote unquote, bad throw, how bad is it when you score a touchdown, right? But obviously when it works out the way you want it to, is
interesting.
Okay, that's a good play.
Interesting take.
But he had said, bad throw, whatever, right? And then I, as I'm cutting this up and I watch it, and I was like, okay, I not saying it's a bad throw. Like, I'm not saying that. Everybody gonna jump on me in the chat. But I think I understand more of what he was saying as I watch this, like this view of it.
Right. I think that
as opposed to when I was watching it live in the moment.
People say it's a bad throw because it's to the outside, slightly underthrown, but people also got to understand that he has a dude in his face, and there's not like you can completely step into this. It was a good throw. Good. And here's the thing. A lot of people get caught up on, it's got to be a perfect ball. You know how many touchdowns I watched Josh throw, or how many Josh Allen, or how many touchdowns I watched Pat Mahomes throw, or these other guys that aren't even necessarily perfect balls?
I think this is a dot.
It's a dot. This is a good throw. It doesn't have to be over the shoulder, in stride.
What is he doing?
What's the result? Well, here's the thing. I wrote this down. He's cheating inside leverage. It's almost like he's expecting Christian McCaffrey to run inside. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to expect a slant. So this is 0.
Oh, okay. So, hold on. Let me get my defensive. Let me get my defensive bag real quick. All right. So, what's your top, right? As a defensive back versus 0 coverage.
To not get
the ball has to come out right now. All right. The ball has to come out right now. And so typically you can kind of sit off at 6 yards and kind of squat. And it's like, I know the ball has to come out right now. So you're anticipating a slant or a stop route or something that's right now, right? Because it has to come hot because we're sending more than they can block. So what we're seeing here, and again, once I saw what he did, I'm like, why is he doing it? Why is he taking away the slant right here? And I didn't even look at obviously I know he got pressured, but I didn't look at that, but I'm like, oh, is there going to be a zero blitz? So clearly this is zero blitz, right? That means, you're bringing more than, you're rushing 6. Look, they got 6 guys coming at you. So, okay, now I understand why he played it that way.
And for those who are going to ask, click on the free safety really quick. The reason why it might not look like zero to some is George Kittle's in the backfield right now. So that safety is going to be
He's manned on him.
for George. He's manned up on him. He stays in for protection. Now he just basically becomes this +1 or a little robber underneath. He's waiting for him to come out. He never gets out. Yeah. So the ball's got to be out quick. But McCaffrey does this little stab move inside, and it was enough for this guy to take the bait. And basically all you got to do is just put your foot in the ground and go with it. So it's a 6-man protection, and Brendel is the one that blows the protection here. He got smoked.
I feel like we're saying Brendel's name quite
Brendel. How long has he been in the league now?
I don't know. Somebody said it's blurry. Do you mind if I switch to my other Wi-Fi real quick?
Go ahead, switch it up.
All right, hold on, guys. Hang tight. Let me switch to my Wi-Fi. My power's back on. Hold on. Be back in a sec.
I don't know.
All right, am I back?
You're back. Yeah,
right.
The thing is, so the people are saying it's blurry, and I think I see it on my end like that too. It's because I think Crocky screen records it, and we're not watching it straight off of the NFL stuff. I don't know. Like I said, if somebody has a better way of actually pulling the film,
because I screen grab it and then I put it together.
I think that's what it is. He screen grabs it. If somebody has a better idea of it or how to do it, please let us know.
Without trying to do it straight from the NFL thing, because then all the views are like, it'll be. I get the copyright infringement thing.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, right here, if you go to the end zone view, I think this is a great ball. He throws it outside with pressure. It's a 2-jet protection, and what Kittle's doing, he's going to be on a dual scan from the inside to out, and what he does is he picks up his protection. So pause it right here. Is that Kittle? Am I tripping? No, it's not even Kittle. Who is it?
It's Kittle right here.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can't really see right now.
Lined up at running back.
Okay, yeah, so then they did this multiple times. So it's 2-jet, meaning Kittle's going to be on the right side, and now they're going to slide half man, half slide. So they're going to slide it to the left, and these guys on the bottom here, the McGlinchey and Burford, are going to be 2 for 2. Kittle's going to scan inside out, and those guys on the left are sliding. Well, it's really on your guys' right side on how you're looking at it, but basically Williams is sliding. They're sliding from Brendel to Williams. And so they bring a double A gap pressure. Okay? So both A gaps both of them get pressure, double A, and so Brendel should work to the linebacker. I can't even see his number clearly, but with a brace, and then Kittle's going to scan inside to out. So if you go ahead and play it right here, stop.
So this is a defensive tackle. I think these are both defensive tackles.
Yeah, so all they do is trying to give these little crazy looks, these exotic looks, and look at Brendel here. So
That's
he's supposed he's doing this, he should just keep on running down the field like that because he reaches for both.
He tries to get both guys.
He tries to get both, but instead of knowing the principles of the protection, which I'm sure he does, and there's a lot of shit going on, so I'm not going to knock him for that, but he's got to know, okay, Kittle's going to scan inside out on this. And what he does is he should have taken one and know that Kittle's going to be responsible for the next on 2-jet protection. And Kittle does what he's supposed to do. Brendel doesn't. Brock ends up getting hit on this. Doesn't matter anyways. He still makes the throw. But yeah, Brendel doing this is not going to necessarily work when you got 500 or 600 plus pounds running right at you.
That's a hell of a throw.
Yeah, great throw.
What
here.
do you think? Okay, so I have a question about how he's running the offense. Because a lot of people would say, "Oh man, it's a different offense with Trey Lance than Jimmy Garoppolo." And I had said to you, like, I think they're running a lot, like from a passing, like the concepts, I feel like are the same,
It's the same.
right? Like between Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, like the concepts are what the concepts are. But one guy just has more aggressive eyes than the other.
Yeah, I would
And is
agree.
that the same thing with Purdy? Now,
Yeah, I would agree.
with-
There was a couple shots early in the game where he's throwing it over the middle and doing the exact same things, or he's throwing curl routes. He just took a couple more deep shots. That was it. I think
Right.
everything else looks very, very similar. And Jimmy will also have some solid eyes, more veteran eyes, where he'll see things a little bit quicker and get the ball out of his hands quicker, to where Purdy might hold on to it a little bit longer and kind of make something that we're not used to seeing, but he's still getting the same results, if that makes sense.
yeah,
That is Akeem Hicks right there, huh? Did you play against Akeem Hicks with me? No, you weren't on the team
Nah,
yet.
Sac City. Nah, I was.
Yeah, I
actually
played
in
against
City.
Akeem Hicks twice in 2008, and he was on my ass. We beat him both times, but I remember, and I've talked about this before, Akeem Hicks had the brace or like the whole club on his hand, and LSU had just won the national championship in 2007, and all the LSU coaches were on the sideline against Sac City versus MJC, and I remember all of them had the national championship rings on, and I'm watching him on film. He was the number one player in the country, and I'm thinking, oh, it's over for my ass today. Like, I'm getting just toasted by this dude. And their D-line was huge, and every time I got hit, I don't think he sacked me that game, but every time he got a hit on me, that hit felt different than any other D-line hit throughout my career playing. Like, it had so much force behind it, so much weight behind it. It just felt different. Dude was smacking with a club. Like, he was a dude, but we had to double him every time. But he still got through. Like, this guy was, he was a dude. He was a force. You definitely recognized him playing D-line.
So, like I was asking about the offense. So, what is it? Is it with these younger guys, right? Because Trey Lance is in it now. Obviously, Trey Lance hasn't been as efficient as Brock, but just with the way he sees the field, he's throwing the ball down the field. Brock Purdy, he's throwing the ball down the field. He's converting. Feels like a high percentage of his throws. Jimmy, a little reluctant. Is it just these younger guys, they just don't know any better, so they're just like, fuck it, I'm going for it?
Yeah, like in college,
Or
college you can take those shots and you can be a little bit more risky with it. And DBs might not be as good, or you just have more confidence in yourself, or you're not as confident in the complete offense yet, but you might know you're confident in this side of the progression, so you're going to work that side of the progression. You know, who knows? But I think that the things that he's dialed up, like, it's nice to see him push the ball down the field a little bit more. Both, on both throws that he had, and we'll look at the other one. This was a good ball, and it works out. The reason why this one works out is because of separation with the corner. And the reason why the other one to Ayuk, that the stutter and go, worked out is because separation from the corner. If the corners were tighter or the safeties were there, it probably wouldn't work out, right? So those are some things he might have to adjust. But on both of those throws, he also did have pressure in his face. So it's tough to knock somebody by getting the ball out quickly, delivering it downfield, and it turns into 6 points both times. Like I said, it goes back to, don't be so concerned about how you got there, but what was the result? And the result was 6 points both times.
I saw someone say right here, we got, he says, Purdy is quicker with his decision making compared to Jimmy G. That is Jimmy G's biggest issue. He is always a blink of an eye slower with his reads. I actually think Jimmy is actually a really quick decision maker, and sometimes too quick, right?
I was going to say the same thing. I think Jimmy is very quick with his reads, and again, he gets the ball out as quick as anybody in the NFL, if not quicker. But he takes – Brady was that way a lot in his career, right? Brady, when Jimmy came in 2017 and did what he did in those 5 games, I thought, you're literally watching Tom Brady, like a mini version of Tom Brady. He worked the middle of the field. He worked the tight ends over and over and over again. And he never really got off of that. Tom Brady did the same thing, with the exception of the year, that he had Randy Moss. But he worked the field a ton, and what happened? He would dump it off to guys like Gronk. He'd get mismatches, or he'd have Julian Edelman running across the field, batshit crazy, or who was the other? Wes Welker, right? Running across the field, getting yak all game long for him. But he's making the right reads and letting his athletes around him do the work, right? I think a lot of people would agree that actually focused on watching what was really happening within the offenses there. But I think that Jimmy was very quick with the reads for the most part. There's obviously, sometimes he's too quick or he got fooled on, and that's the problem. If you're too quick, sometimes you're going to get fooled. And but I think what we have so far is with what Brock is doing, he looks like he's pretty decisive for the most part. And I think it's tough. Like, it's going to be hard not to compare Brock and Jimmy. And that's why I put this one on here, right? So it's like, out of all the good, I can't just be all good.
There was a lot of good. There was a lot of damn good, right? We showed him making
damn
the
good.
off-script plays, making guys miss out
A
in
lot of
space, stepping up in the pocket, being efficient, throwing the ball down the field. That's awesome to see. And then obviously, like, you have some of the things where I think people would say rookie mistake because he's a rookie, even though we've seen every 49er quarterback now make this same exact throw and interception. Maybe not seeing the backside safety or being able to manipulate him. So
and this is one of those ones, like, this luckily it was called back, but this one, so if you could pause it for me, right? No, go ahead and pause it right after the start here. So they bring how many? 3, right? So they drop 8, and this is what gave the Niners hell against the Saints. If we remember the film review against the Saints, they dropped 8 a lot. They were trying to put Jimmy in a bind. The passing game wasn't the greatest, and it's hard when you are dropping 8 in coverage. It's tough, and they run a single high doing it here. And I asked Bray what they really do here, and when he played for the Andy Reid, they called this 110 hoops, which is basically a drop 8 coverage. So 110 hoops. I don't know where they got that name for it. That's the defensive call here, or what they called it with Andy Reid. So they drop off the defensive ends, and they're bringing 3 and dropping 8. And in doing so, that defensive end that drops off and eventually picks the ball off, he looks at number 2. So number 2 goes wide. The number 2 receiver goes outside. If he comes inside, he'll take him, right? But instead he goes outside. So he passes him off to the corner. It's Kittle right there. So Kittle goes wide. He passes him off. What does he do? Goes back to the middle of the field. So he's going to roam the middle. Purdy's quick with a decision, and he ends up throwing a pick, right? Luckily, it was a defensive holding, but this is one of those little exotic coverages that he'll see a little bit more often, and it's tough when you look at these to find the little keys on how to recognize this pre-snap, because defenses are doing better at disguising. You can look at leverage points. You can look at, nickel, star. They look like they're playing man. So look at all the corners, right? Looks like a man look straight across.
That's a terrible call. That's a terrible call on Davis.
So look at Ayuk right here. Look what Ayuk does. Boom, gets out open, right? So here's the thing. Jimmy likes to throw that ball across the middle a lot. You got to get your eyes to the middle, and you're seeing down the middle of the field, but out of the peripheral, it's tough to see that defensive end, because by the time he pulls the trigger, you think he's got him, and the defense just makes a good play. So you got to chalk up. Like I said, you can't win them all, and that's a win for the defense right there. But I think that's something that Brock will go back on and look and try and find keys. And if he's going to throw that, if he can see that that defensive end or outside backer in his peripheral and then make a decision, and then maybe go from 1 to 2 with Ayuk there. But again, a tough defense to throw against, especially on shorter routes. But a good job by them, and it ended up working out for us anyways. So
it could be the DB in me, but guys, that's just such a terrible call on Davis, number 24. He gets his hands on him, and immediately Jennings goes down, right? Like, look, watch him. He gets his hands on him, boom, immediately he's falling. I think he might have tripped over Kittle maybe. Nah, he was just going down by himself. That's what they call defensive holding on.
Hey, just like.
I mean, no, I'll take it.
We'll take it, but that was another call. It was like, oh, I don't know. Just like the play, the first play of the game. Brock Purdy gets smashed. It's on Brock. He gets killed off the edge, and then they punish the defense for doing their job. You know, like that. I'm a quarterback. I a lot of times seems like I look at these these roughing the passer calls in the NFL, and I think that it's shit. Like, you want to protect the quarterback, that's fine, and that's always been my conversation with people. I think when you talk about GOATs, you want to talk about Joe Montana and Tom Brady. I think that you really got to keep it generational, because Tom Brady is playing in a different football generation now in the way that the game is played as compared to the 80s football where Ronnie Lott could come downhill and knock your freaking head off and nobody's saying shit about it. Coming across the middle. Dudes weren't going across the middle on him. If you did, it was over. You weren't doing it again probably. And the game is not played like that anymore. So I think when you talk about it, I think you got to try and keep it a little more generational. That's just my opinion. This one right here.
Hold on. Seattle's going to drop guys in the coverage, which is fine because Christian McCaffrey is going to be a good check down another game. We should run the ball a ton. So do you foresee maybe if Seattle's like, okay, we're going to drop a lot of guys in coverage, do they still run? Seattle has been very –
here's the thing. I don't know what Seattle's going to do, because Seattle, if you drop a lot of guys into coverage, that's fine. But their run defense has been shit. Like, they're giving up like 180 a game for the last month and a half or something like that. Like, here's the thing. That they can't drop, in my opinion. They're going to try to, but I don't think they can, because as soon as they do, the run game is going to be all over their ass. And Seattle has good DBs. Like, they do have some good defensive backs, some younger guys, but
Tariq Woolen's doing a really good job.
If you try and drop on those guys, like if you're trying to drop coverage on the Niners, their run game should be good enough to where you have the three running backs plus, well, now it's just the three running backs. I was going to say Deebo, but you have the three running backs that are all capable, and two for sure that are really capable. So I think that try and drop them, but you can't. I don't think they're going to be able to sustain like that.
All right, here we go. Hold on. We got Chris. He says he's a Brock Purdy apologist.
Hey, I hope that he's keeping that same energy as things move forward. Roscoe says he's the big USC fan, right? And I made the joke. We talked about trading for try and trade everything you can for to go up and get Caleb Williams, and I said that to him like 3 weeks or a month ago, and he told me, hell no. And then the other day he's talking about watching the Heisman ceremony, and he's getting tears in his eyes because USC finally got a Heisman winner. So I'm curious to see if he's thinking that moving forward. But I'm pumped. Shout out to Caleb Williams for winning the Heisman. Yeah. That was big time, man. Good for USC.
People were wondering, like, did he lose it because of the last game? I'm like, nah, he's about to win it.
No, he did plenty in the last. He still threw for 360 plus or something like that. So we'll see.
Real quick. Let me check
but I think
Underdog Fantasy real quick. If you guys aren't already, man, download the Underdog Fantasy app. Promo code Crocky. I'm 2 for 2 so far. Let's go. But where I'm struggling is Russell Westbrook. Damn it, Russ.
You bet on Russell Westbrook?
He's been hyperactive.
Bro, if you are betting on him, you deserve to lose.
But you know what? I think
here we go again. Here we go again. This goes back to the Lakers. I'm not even a basketball fan like that, but I told you from the start of the year, they're trash. They're still trash. They're going to be trash at the end of the year, and here you are betting money.
No, they're getting
Russell
better.
Westbrook, did you bet the under on him or the over?
I read the over, but look, it's 18. Bro, he's been going crazy lately. So they had his points and rebounds at 18.5. Underdog Fantasy, if you guys,
points
you guys
and rebounds.
So it's points and rebounds. He just needs to be over 18 with those combined.
Okay. And so the Lakers are trash, and so is Westbrook. So you're still betting.
I'm not going to lie, bro. Disrespect my team one more time, I'll kick you off the show.
That's fine. Boot my ass off. I'll click on the link back in. Boot my ass off. Hey, I'll tell the followers to come over here on IG Live. I'll start my own shit. Look at this. Man.
All right. Well, anyways.
Look at where did you get that? The flea market?
Bro, listen, don't ask questions.
That's a gas station flag. You got that like the back of the gas stations where they got the hats and the flags hanging up. That's where you got that little banner right there.
Bro, listen, don't ask questions. You
You
don't
got
want
the
to
tie-dye Lakers sign in the back. Wow.
All right, so is this one better? Is this one better?
Yeah, that's better. You had the tie-dye one. That's rough. But why do you have two of them right next to you?
Listen, don't worry. You asking all these questions about why I got this and that and where I get it from. All right. Just know it's Laker game, Lake Show. You feel me?
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, I need 18 Underdog Fantasy. Download the app, promo code Crocky. They'll double your deposit up to $100. Don't take any advice from Greg. He loses a lot. So he's telling me to not go with Russell Westbrook. Watch Russell Westbrook hit what I need him to hit.
I hope he does hit for you. I hope he does. So
Davis is doing cool.
Again. You bet him again in a couple of days, and he's gonna shit the bed for you.
All right, we're gonna see. So when I come up this $200, all right, I'm gonna holler at you.
Please do. Let me know.
All right,
they're trash. All right,
somebody said kick him like you kicked me, Croc. don't listen to him, man. Don't listen to him. All right, here we go. Back to the because I think this is the final play. All right, hold on. I'm trying to get him off the screen. There we go.
Yeah, I believe it is. So this was that stutter. I believe it was a stutter and go again.
This is very impressive from off cover. Like to get a corner who's playing soft, right? It's like I'm playing soft. He knows he has to carry the vertical, and they did get hit on this drive because this is right before halftime. He did run that kind of like deep. It looked like he might push for a corner, then sit in the middle, and then he came right back and ran that sitting. Oh, Kyle Shanahan set this up. So earlier, see now look, I wasn't thinking about it that way, right? Kyle set this up. Kyle ran on this drive. He ran a deep, kind of. It looks like a corner. It's like he pushes to the corner, then runs a stop route. Boom! Brock Purdy hit Ayuk. Then Kyle had Ayuk run another stop route. This time it was just more of a 12 to 15 yard curl. All right, and he was pretty open on it. And on the other side, McLeod ran the same thing. They completed the pass to McLeod, right? But now they showed you that action twice on, all right, we're going to sit, about 12 to 15 yards, however deep it was. So now it's like, all right, y'all going to run the same kind of coverage where he has to match him vertically. So we're going to give you the same look. We're going to give you the same action. But this time, I'm going to, no. Okay, Kyle, I see you. Okay, I didn't catch that at first, but clearly I see, the wheels are spinning right now. So,
and this route,
that's what it was. Great design. It wasn't a corner because I was thinking like it's kind of hard to get a guy to just bite from off coverage like that. Did you hear me say that?
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Like it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for that. So, all right.
The one thing I like here, I mean, the route is great. The little stutter, Deshaun Jackson. When I watch stutter and goes, Deshaun Jackson used to do this at Cal, and it was like clockwork. It was like an art form watching him do that back in the day at Cal. So watching Ayuk do this, it was filthy. He had him beat. We're doing a half man, half slide protection again. And if you guys remember, I've talked about it the last couple of weeks. What has given the Niners offensive line fits is when the defensive line is doing their little stunts. They're wrapping, they're stunting, they're doing those things, and they're getting the offensive line tangled up. And I said if I was a defensive coordinator, I would probably do this over and over and over until the Niners figured out how to basically protect against it. And if you watch Trent Williams and Banks here, you get a wide defensive end, and then you got basically a one technique. And so they wrap, boom, what happens? One gets tangled up. Williams goes inside, and he turns his shoulders right there. And once he turns, he can't recover, and that's why Brock Purdy gets hit. So if he was able to basically pass him off back inside, they're both turning their shoulders in towards the defensive end, and the D tackle wraps around. And that's eventually what, like I said, that hits Brock Purdy. But it's something that's given the Niners offensive line fits over the last couple of weeks. But again, good pump. And I give him props, man. He's standing in there, and he's taking shots, and he's delivering the ball down the field. And, yeah, the throw was underthrown, but again, you can't get too caught up with how it got there, but what was the result of it? And the result was 6 points. And again, it works here because he has separation from the DB. If the DB doesn't take the bait, he's probably not throwing it. He's probably going to throw it down to the flat with McLeod there, or move on, or throw it away. But he hangs in tight, and he knows he's got spacing, so he's able to get that ball down the field and with enough space between the safety and the DB. If it was a too high look, you'd kind of be screwed here. But they roll into like this soft sky almost with that safety that rolls down. So we'll call it cover 3 sky, where that safety kind of pushes down a little bit, the free safety there. He'd kind of roll into the middle of the field, and then you get the other one going to play center field. And the Niners do that a lot. Some people call it soft sky. Some people call it catch 3. But basically that coverage is to stop the 4 verts against a 3 high look. And it gives you the ability to do that and take away 4 verts. Seattle Seahawks did this back in the day a lot with that defensive coverage. But at the end of the day, what was the result? It was just a good ball. And I'm not saying good ball because it was underthrown. It was a good ball because it's a touchdown, and that was the result of the play here. But yeah, again, a lot of hits, and this is the thing too, and a lot of people are saying he gets hit and he's taking hits, and how can a quarterback sustain? I don't care if it's Brock Purdy, I don't care if it's Jimmy G, I don't care if it's Trey, I don't care if it's Pat Mahomes, whoever it may be. If your quarterback is continuing to get hit like this over and over and over again, especially by a defensive tackle that's probably 325 pounds or more, it's not going to feel good. And how are your quarterbacks going to be able to sustain like that?
Do they start to think about it?
When you're getting hit like that?
Because we talked about him maybe like not knowing any better, right? What's going on now.
Eventually you're going to start to think about it, but as you get older in your career, you're going to – Brock Purdy is young enough, and he looks like he's stubborn enough to where he's just going to be a go-getter regardless. And he stood in there, and he showed that he can stand in there and take those hits. But look at Mike White the other day, right against the Bills. He took an absolute shot up the middle, and they had to take him back and do the x-rays and check him out for, like, internal injuries. Ideally, you don't want your quarterback, I don't care who it is, taking shots like that over and over and over again. So
Oh, God, is Purdy really advanced for a rookie, or was Jimmy just totally incapable of things the NFL considers kind of basic? Let me can I say something about that real quick?
Go for it.
I have talked a whole lot about a lot of people, right? They point to Jimmy Garoppolo's win-loss percentage. And I'm not saying that Jimmy didn't do a lot of good things, but a lot of people point to Jimmy Garoppolo and his win-loss percentage with Kyle Shanahan and what it looks like outside of having Jimmy Garoppolo. I pointed to earlier, right? I talked about how in that first year, Jimmy Garoppolo, 5 wins, 0 losses. I also talked about how prior to acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo, the 49ers lost at one point 5 straight games by 3 or less points, right? So now you're talking about a couple plays better, and now your team is probably winning a lot more games than what they ended up winning. And now that team, I think, is viewed just a little different. I think a lot of it has to do with just really good coaching. Robert Saleh, Kyle Shanahan, of course, right? And the team definitely wasn't as loaded as it is now, but they were on the brink of being, winning more games, but needed a little bit better quarterback play. Am I wrong for saying that? Now,
I think you obviously got good enough quarterback play from Jimmy, and I think the tough thing is people wanted more, right? People wanted to adapt to, or people wanted him to be what you drafted Trey to be, something that's a little bit more elusive. What's Trey's projections, right? To be a guy like a Pat or a guy like Josh. Like, that's what you want Trey to be like. Big arm dude, bigger body guy that can be mobile, that can rip the ball down the field. And instead you get Jimmy, who's more of the pocket passer, older style quarterback, or historically a pocket passer, and he got the ball out a lot quicker than most people. But I think here's the thing. I probably saw Jimmy playing his last game as a 49er. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. But I think you got to appreciate at least what he did because it wasn't dog shit. There's a lot of players out there that are dog shit, and I think that you would take. I had this conversation with my friends that are Raider fans. It's like okay, that's fine. You want to hate on Jimmy G, but would you rather have Jimmy G or Derek Carr? And I think that's a valid. Like, you're not going to get the deep ball that Derek Carr can throw, but you're not. Jimmy also tends to make a little bit better decisions. So, I think that people don't give Jimmy enough credit for some of the things he does because a lot of it goes overlooked and it's repetitive. But again, he doesn't do the sexy plays. But at the end of the day, what I was going to say is don't try not to get too caught up in comparing him instead of just appreciating what Brock Purdy's doing as a rookie right now. And I think that he's playing better as a rookie than a lot of people expect rookies to play. But he is also playing in an offense where Kyle's going to make it a little bit more simple for him right now, or give him what he knows, and what he doesn't know, he's going to leave out of the playbook in the meantime. But there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that happen. There's going to be shit that doesn't go his way. There's going to be throws that are made that aren't the greatest, and that's just a part of football in general. But I think you got to appreciate, okay, when Trey was in, Trey did some good things, right? But Trey also had some missed throws or did some bad things. When Jimmy was in, Jimmy did a lot of good things. When there's some stupid things that people hold on to that he also did. Brock is going to get to the point where he will do some stupid shit. But you got to learn to freaking move past it, just like these guys do when they're on the field. And you know as well as I do, it goes back to what Coach Young used to say. It's like one play at a time for as long as it takes. Like you literally got to focus on one play, one game at a time, and then move on to the next one. Like these guys in the locker room, yeah, the Super Bowl is the goal, but they're not overlooking the Seahawks and thinking about, oh, well, if we win, who we're going to play in the Super Bowl. It's focused on the Seahawks, and they're on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? So that's my take on it. I think you got to be you just got to be a fan of Brock Purdy and what the Niners are doing right now, and we'll see what happens moving into next year. But I would anticipate, obviously, if he continues to, there's a lot of vets that make mistakes too.
Well, I was going to say,
talked about that before.
Just not to, I think I get where Sat King is coming from, but did Patrick Mahomes just throw 3 interceptions in the game?
Against the Broncos, who gave the Niners fits too on defense.
Right. So, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, I think we can acknowledge that bad decision or rookie mistakes happen with. I mean, I saw Josh Allen throw some of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. Right, like this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it happens. These guys take shots. They get a little bit too comfortable with their arms and trying to fit things in certain places. But it doesn't always work out. But they will take those risks. The thing is, we talked about it again. When they do take those risks and it goes south, they usually do something on the next couple plays or the next drive that makes you forget about the stupid shit they just did prior. Whereas Jimmy would do something that those guys might do, but instead on the backside or the next play, next drive, he wouldn't do the sexy things that make you forget about the stupid mistakes that he would make.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that frustrates the fan base the most. So yeah, I know you look at it as if you feel okay. Let me
stop the Jimmy slander. That's what
okay. So that's
stop
the
Jimmy slander.
Greg is not that, because I talk to Greg all the time. It's not that he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is this great quarterback. You think that the slander is unwarranted to the extent of
I think that to an
how
extent
he's
it's
talked
unwarranted. And I said it before. I talk a lot about it. I talk to you about it. There's stupid shit he does. It's like, dude, what the hell? But there's some good things he does. I'm like, people aren't going to get him credit for it anyways because he plays in this magical offense for a quarterback. So he'll never get the credit he deserves regardless. But I think that Jimmy was having a really good year this year. I think he had, 17 touchdowns, 17 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
I thought he was having a really good year.
I would chalk that up as a really good year for any quarterback so far. But, again, he would never get the full credit. But I think that his decision-making on certain plays especially, people overlook the decision-making, even though he would make a throw that's 15 yards down the field. but he would take a risk to throw that throw, or he read something early and he gets the ball to his athletes, and they would make plays for him. So, and I think that was the recipe for his success and why he has 40+ wins and not nearly as many losses. So, I think that what Jimmy did, I think a lot of people will, again, at some point or another, call me crazy, but I think at some point or another, people will look back and say, "Damn, there's a time right now where we could use a Jimmy Garoppolo," and it might not be anytime soon, but it could be somewhere in the future. I don't know.
All right, and now we have, and I think he's like trolling a little bit, or he seems a little emotional about it. But we have the Car Gods, and he says Trey is a complete bust already. So just talking to kind of the fan base about just your outlook on the Trey Lance situation, right, and what it is, just looking at it, all right, from Trey's perspective, maybe from a perspective with Brock Purdy, and obviously Trey Lance, he's not playing the rest of this year, but just your thoughts on, because I see I think they kind of missed because we talked about Trey in the Bears game. We broke down the Bears game, right? Did you think that when we were breaking that game down, that Trey Lance panicked in the pocket?
No, not really. I mean, I think that Trey. Here's the thing. There's a difference between panicking in the pocket and kind of moving around in the pocket. And some people could say that Josh or Pat are panicking in the pocket, but those guys are comfortable moving around, just like Caleb Williams is comfortable moving around. And that's why he won the Heisman this year, because they can do those special things. I think Trey is able to throw from the pocket and does well doing it, but he's also comfortable moving around within the pocket too. And there's two different things where you really got to separate the two. And I don't think that Trey panics in the pocket, and I also don't think we've seen enough of Trey Lance to decipher whether he panics in the pocket. Just like I don't think we've seen enough of Brock Purdy to say Brock Purdy is going to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo was. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? Yes, he's done well. He's off to a hot start, and he does some things that are different. But I still think it's very, very early in both of their careers to judge them one way or the other.
We earlier we just brought up and we talked about a throw, right? Because he's saying Trey Lance panics in the pocket, but we talked about him stepping up in the pocket early in the Bears game, step up in the pocket, reset, keep his eyes down the field, throw a deep crosser on the money. That did not look like somebody panicking in the pocket, right? In my opinion, I could be wrong. I would assume that panicking in that moment would be taking off.
Right.
As opposed to keeping his eyes downfield.
Thinking more run first. Like, I think Kyler Murray panics in the pocket.
All right. You think part of it's because he just can't see?
Probably. And I'm not being a dick. I just think that's the truth, honestly. But again, he plays well. And that is his game. His game is not to be a pocket passer. He plays well doing shit like that, right?
Right.
Or some other guys don't, so.
Right. There was another one in that game, too, kind of late, too, in that game where stepped up and then threw a strike to Dwelly over the middle for a first down, and I thought that was really good pocket. It didn't look like he was panicking in that moment. I think there's a lot that Trey does well. Obviously, it's getting it to all be more consistent, which is hard to see. Any type of consistency when you've only started 4 games. He's been hurt. That's the biggest issue to me.
You know, I like to ruffle the feathers and get people all worked up here. I'm going to ask you. Let's say Brock Purdy goes on at the pace he's going right now, doing what he does. Do you go into the offseason and Trey Lance is going to be the slated starter because he has the money behind him? Or do you roll with Brock until Brock proves that he can't do the things that he's doing currently? And I know I just talked about taking it one play at a time, but I'm gonna be like everybody else. Just conversation. Would Brock Purdy, if he is playing the way he's playing right now, be the starter at the start of next year? Or would you make Trey the starter because Trey has the money behind him? Or part B, do you try and get some of your draft picks back and let
I think
him
if we are talking about Brock Purdy winning a Super Bowl, right?
Let's not say he wins it. Let's say they get deep in the playoffs or
Yeah,
to
and he
it.
just looks good, right?
If
he
he
looks
wins
like,
it,
and
if he
not
won the
Jimmy
Super Bowl,
Garoppolo deep. No,
I think
Jimmy.
if he won the Super Bowl, put it this way, if he won the Super Bowl, I think everybody in here and every other Niner fan would agree that he should be the starter going into next year.
Right.
Like Kyle, like that would probably be a fireable offense if you didn't make him the starter next year.
I would
you know
say
what I'm saying?
he needs to be the starter, right? And obviously, if it looks like, because when I watched this last game, I didn't see a quarterback. It didn't feel like he was being carried by anyone. It looked like a guy who was doing the things he's supposed to do, as well as making plays when he needs to make a play or a throw, right? So if he continues that level of play, what do you want to know? We talked about Cooper Rush earlier. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, right? We talked about Cooper Rush. He was undefeated. Then he threw 3 picks in the game, and everybody hated him. All right, but if he continues what it looks like right now, and you go deep into the playoffs, and you lose a game, but it's like, well, motherfucker scored 28 points. You know what I'm saying? And then I would say, likely, in my opinion, you would 100%. There will be a battle. 100%.
A battle.
100%.
Now,
I mean, like, if it looks okay, it looks good, whatever, because you're still gonna give Trey the opportunity. Like, I would assume, I'm talking about from roster politics. If it looks good, there will be a battle. Maybe you have your mind made up. Maybe you have your mind made up. Oh no, I'm going with Purdy.
Do you see at any point them trying to get some type of draft capital? Because you can't trade Jimmy, right? He's a free agent.
Right.
The only way to get the draft capital would be to go get or go trade Trey Lance. If that happened, just for conversation's sake, and I'm not saying that there's no Trey hate. I'm just having conversation because I do like Trey Lance.
Yeah, because we know how the people get in the chat.
Yeah, we know.
This
how
is
they
not
a.
I see a lot of people in
conversation.
They stick their pitchforks in on one side or the other. Like
this is basically why I have this conversation with you. This is why I wanted to bring up this conversation, just to create a little spark in the chat here and talk some shit. Just like I do with you, just like I do with Jesse. That's the problem. Is somebody said, you get a 6th-round pick for Trey. Like, what is his worth now? It's not a first rounder. It's not 2 first rounders. It's not,
I don't think so.
It's not. I don't know what you'd get. Do you ever see a situation where they do let him go and then Jimmy comes back?
No, why would you do that? If you like Brock.
As a number 2 quarterback.
No, what?
They did. Hey, you would have said the same thing last year.
Well, yeah,
and they did it this year. And thank God they did it this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that's.
I know, but that's why I said
I feel like it defeats the purpose. Let's say Trey Lance is out the picture, and you got.
I just want to
Brock.
get these guys ruffle some serious feathers in here. We are.
Trey Lance is out the picture because you felt like Brock was so good, right? Like, Brock was so good. So it's like, all right, Trey, we'll get you out the picture. Even if, okay, we got a 6th-round pick for Trey Lance, cool, whatever. Because now all the draft capital is being used up. Like, after this offseason, whatever draft capital you gave up for Trey Lance, it's out the window. All right? It's used up. So if you're just saying, well, at the end of the day, okay, we gave up a lot of draft capital for Trey, but went to an NFC Championship game, went to another NFC Championship game or Super Bowl, whatever, with a rookie quarterback, Brock Purdy. So, okay, we're going to get rid of Trey Lance. We don't have to need a guy to develop because Brock Purdy is giving us everything that we need,
right?
Plus with what he's shown so far, right? So, from that standpoint, I mean, I still feel like you want that rookie quarterback on that contract. So, if I'm able to get Brock Purdy, who's a 7th-round pick, he probably makes $600,000
like 700, 800,000 maybe.
Maybe, right? Like,
maybe with incentives.
4th year, 5th year and shit, right? So why would you? I want to continue to build around him. I want to continue to just throw in, get you another Brock Purdy. Not saying it's that simple. It's not, right? But you had Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins was a good backup.
Yep.
Solid backup, right? Now, the issue with some of these guys, and again, it doesn't look like the case for Brock yet. I mean, we'll see. But the more they play, right, like Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins can come in for a game, and he can look good. He can come in for 2 games, and he can look good. But the more Nick Mullins plays, the more you start to see some shit where it's like, it get a little weird, right? Like, that's what happened with Nick. Because people forget that Nick Mullins came in against the Raiders and threw
Whooped
for
that ass on Monday Night Football.
what, Thursday night.
Thursday night, whatever. Prime time
Three
football.
touchdowns, throwing for a bunch of yards. Nick Mullins, he's on fire. He looks good. And we've seen that several times with Nick, right? Remember when Jimmy Garoppolo went down against the New York Jets? Nick Mullins comes in, looks good. Next game, who's he play against? The New York Giants. What did that game look like? Nick Mullins slicing them up. Throws for 3. I even posted a GIF that said, it was like Jimmy G right now, and it was a guy like sweating and stuff. Because it was like, Nick Mullins is balling. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, Nick Mullins is balling.
No, he was. He was killing it.
And then he's balling, but then the more sometimes guys like that play.
He was balling until he became until Cooper Rush is Nick Mullins 2.0. Is that what it is? Yeah. He balling until he's not balling and everybody's off of him. So
right. I will say, but he was a good backup. You just don't want your backup to have to. Why has the little short asshole guy?
Who?
Chase Daniel. The little short quarterback.
Yes, Chase Daniels. I think
Chase Daniel.
I don't know if that's who you're calling an asshole, but yeah. Chargers.
All right. Chargers, Chiefs, Bears.
Yeah,
that guy. All right. So, why has he lasted so long? Because he hasn't had to play. So he could be a great backup. He does all the things. But if you had to play Daniels for 4 starts, 5 starts, right? It should start getting kind of sticky.
Right.
And so, not saying that you can find another Brock Purdy, and still not 100% sure what he is, but right now, love what I'm seeing. But I do think you can find a guy with that type of ability.
Right. No, I don't see that. And I was just conversation, but I don't see.
So I wouldn't bring back Jimmy G. That's what
I don't see him coming back anyways, just because it'll be too expensive realistically to have him again as a backup. Glad they cut his contract this year, or they renegotiated. Glad that he was able to do well when he was healthy, because that conversation was just coming out. Let's say that Jimmy was still healthy. That conversation started to come about where it's like, okay, well, they're going to bring Jimmy back now. And what's going to happen with that? Obviously, I don't see that happening anymore. And I do see it being more of a competition. But if Brock does well, I think that Brock will probably it's probably going to be a dead even competition. I would say that they both go 1A, 1B and rotate every single day and see what's going to happen. If he continues on the path he does. If not, again, there's roster politics and money involved, and a lot more money in him than there is in Brock Purdy. So, I think it's good to have a guy like Brock on the roster, obviously, but we'll have to take it one game at a time and see where it gets us.
Right, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun off season, regardless. I mean, I think because I believe that both guys will be there, and there will be this guy was 7 for 10 today. This guy was 9 for 12, whatever. Then they flip flop, and now this guy has to go against the first defense. I think you'll see.
And we're going. Next year we are going. We're going to camp. We're going to watch this.
Let's do it.
We're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
We might even tailgate for training camp. We do a podcast right after training camp in the parking lot right after. BYOB.
All right. We're Panelli and Croc, man. We're going to be there tailgating training camp for this spicy kind of a movie, I guess. Good problem to have, I would say. Well, at least what it looks like a good problem to have.
For now.
Now, again, you try not to you enjoy what's going on right now with Brock Purdy. In my head, I take it probably a little bit more one game at a time than I think a lot of fans, because my brother's a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I just saw it this year. You know what I'm saying? I just saw everything, how it played out. I just saw all the conversation. I saw the media and what they were saying about the Dallas Cowboy quarterback situation when Cooper Rush was 4-0, 5-0, whatever he was.
Yep.
And there was a lot of like, oh yeah, Cooper, you don't need Dak.
Yep.
And then
until you need Dak.
All right, hold on, we got some super chats here. Purdy, the most studied 7th round quarterback in history, probably loves to be breakdown. So I think essentially what he's saying is, I mean, we're watching them. Other people are watching them. I saw JT O'Sullivan did his breakdown. He always does amazing work. And most of the time, you just don't see 7. I mean, they just don't play, first of all, right? How many times do 7th round quarterbacks play?
Not much.
Especially an extended period of time. Right.
Yep.
Somebody said, Croc, buy yourself a generator when I lost
$2.
power. Lost power, man. Hey, listen, there could have been a tornado right outside my house. I wouldn't even know because I was in here making sure I was focused on what we're doing here, man. But the tornado,
$2
we do
for
have
the-
tornadoes.
$2 for it. I love it, man.
I know, right? I appreciate that. That'll contribute to something.
They'll give you a AA battery.
I think we talked about that one there. Is Purdy really advanced? We talked about that one there. Got a Panthers fan here. Thanks for the draft picks. Take care of Christian McCaffrey. Dope podcast. Appreciate the love for the podcast. This would have been a good one to like start on our new feed. It's gonna come at some point. It's gonna come. We've been saying that, but
Hopefully.
we gotta get a
Hopefully it's
move on
coming.
that. Yeah, we'll get that. But yeah, thank you for Christian McCaffrey. We put him to good use. I still think that, and we talked about a little bit on Locked On 49ers tonight, but I think I don't value running backs that much. Christian McCaffrey is more than just a running back, clearly. I mean, you watched the touchdown he scored last game, and then, on the catch. We watched the touchdown he scored against the Rams, right? You see how impactful he's been in the passing game, catching a bunch of dump-offs, right? And they just trust him a whole lot. So I think from that standpoint, that's cool. I watched the 49ers be in a NFC Championship game with Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round rookie. And it was like, man, he's a good running back. I watched 49ers a couple years prior be in the NFC Championship, go to a Super Bowl with, Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman, right? Mostert was an undrafted guy, played, receiver in college, a bunch of different schools, and it was like, I'm running crazy right now, right? So, I don't know. It's just, for the capital that they gave up, not saying I care a lot about the actual picks, but just me with how I value running backs. If I were pulling the strings, and maybe 49ers are better off without me being the GM, right? But I would not have traded for McCaffrey. I would have just been like, well, I drafted Ty Davis Price. First of all, I would have never drafted Ty Davis Price in the 3rd round. I would have did more of like what they did with Jordan Mason because they've been good at that.
And I said the same thing. I didn't think the way that Wilson was playing that it was going to be a great idea to trade Wilson, and then we end up trading Wilson, and then now you got Deebo hurt, and just for what they had to give up. But I'm glad that he's here, and we'll take him, and we're living in the now, and we got to roll with it. And so I hope that he continues to keep on trucking and doing what he's supposed to do. But obviously, yeah, there's just a lot of money involved in that. So.
How do you think Brock would take it if he won a Super Bowl and then got benched next year? That wouldn't happen.
I don't think I don't see it happening. If he did and he got benched, there would be some serious trade offers coming through to the point where he wouldn't even be on the team anymore.
That would not happen.
Be like first round draft pick. If this kid this young goes and does it, somebody would trade a first round draft pick for it. Maybe that's how they get Caleb Williams. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's all going to play out.
That wouldn't happen. It's asking a lot. But if there is a team that can do it, it's probably this team, right? If there's a team that's like, we can win with Brock Purdy, rookie quarterback, doesn't have the experience, but he's playing well. It would be this team with this loaded roster. Deebo Samuel, he'll be back come playoff time. You have all these guys, so if there's a team that can do it, it's just hard to fathom that, right? You got to remember, I mean, we talk about it, but I don't remember watching the 49ers win a Super Bowl. I was 7 years old or whatever I was in 94, right? It was the 94 season, 90 turning 95. So, I mean, I was young. I like remember it, but I don't remember it, So when you come in and it's like, oh, Brock Purdy's going to win you that Super Bowl. And it's like the Super Bowl that I haven't seen since, I was a kid. Like, that's hard for me to be like, okay, Brock's going to do it. Like, cool, dope. But it's just hard. Like, okay.
Yeah, like I said, I don't care who does it as long as it's done. Don't care.
Right. And I think Brock is playing. Somebody else said something that I don't think I started, but they talked about the Philadelphia Eagles in their situation at quarterback. Carson Wentz goes down. Goddamn Nick Foles comes in. Nick Foles has an amazing run, they win the Super Bowl, and they chose Wentz over Foles. Now you could say, well, maybe it wasn't the right decision, but clearly Nick Foles wasn't good anywhere else either.
Well,
so,
how did that work out for them?
well, I don't think. Well, for who? Which one?
The Eagles. At the time, how did it work out for them?
Well, Nick Foles wasn't good nowhere else either. He couldn't play over.
Nick Foles was actually good on the Eagles, and they traded him away for Sam Bradford. Remember that?
No, they didn't trade him for Sam Bradford.
Yes, they did. Didn't they trade him to the Rams for Sam Bradford?
No.
Originally with
you
Chip
are
Kelly.
so
With Chip Kelly. He played for Chip Kelly.
Hold on.
Nick Foles was the quarterback there.
No, you're okay. Hold on. No, you're talking about.
I'm almost
I think you're
positive.
talking about different time.
I get it. No, but I'm saying from the start, they traded him, and then they ended up getting Sam Bradford because he was on the Rams, right? Then he ends up going to the I don't know. Sam Bradford's finesse in the NFL was ridiculous.
No, Bradford got traded to the Vikings
tell us.
because Teddy Bridgewater tore his ACL.
Okay, but where was Nick Foles, and who did he get traded for the first time?
Nick Foles was on the Eagles. He did leave,
and then they ended up trading him
to the Rams. Okay, he was traded to the Rams, and he was trash on the Rams, right? He was trash.
That's what I'm saying. They traded him away, and he was actually
because he had that great year. He
was pretty good on the Eagles, and then they traded him away, and I was like, what? And then he ends up getting traded to the Rams, and then he comes back to the Eagles, wins the Super Bowl, and they said, all right, we're going with Carson Wentz. Thanks for the Super Bowl, bud. See you later. And then at that point, how did it work out for the Eagles at that point? They never really recovered, and they decided to go with Jalen Hurts and then send Carson Wentz on his way.
Well, the Rams ended up, that was weird because the Rams had Wentz, they had the rookie.
They drafted Jared Goff. Well, that's why Goff ended up coming into the Rams, and then Foles ended up leaving again. So it was weird. That whole dynamic. Chip Kelly came in, sends Foles. Chip ends up on the nine.
McCoy, Deshaun Jackson.
Shit got weird.
Yeah, he was getting rid of a lot of guys.
So,
he did have. I always forget that he had two stints because he started off hot, right? I think when Michael Vick was there with the Eagles, and he came in and he threw like 27 touchdowns, 0 picks. It was something crazy, right? Like some wild.
I was at that game where he came. They came to the 49ers. Eagles came to the 49ers. It was like 2013, maybe. Early 2013, 2012, 2013. One of the first seasons, I think it was the first season at Levi's, I guess. And the Eagles had come there, and I think it was their first regular season win against the Eagles. And it came down to the fourth quarter. But I remember that game. So it was interesting. And then Foles ends up obviously getting traded a couple years later. So, yeah, we had that pizza delivery guy, Tom Sula.
They call him pizza delivery guy. That's crazy.
That was a rough time with our 49ers. That whole stretch from Harbaugh the last year to Kelly. And
do you think that the Eagles could have won back-to-back with Nick Foles? My guy Jasper, in the chat says the Eagles would have won back-to-back, but it's weird because
we saw
that
season,
and it was like I think they got a first round. Did they get a first round pick for him?
I forget, but it's the same situation as now, like you just talked about. It's so hard to predict. Like one thing can go south. The Niners, Super Bowl favorites. Jimmy comes in. Jimmy starts to cook. Boom, shit crumbles real quick. He gets hurt. Jimmy's going to come back to the 49ers. Then he goes down and gets hurt. Oh, Brock's in? Shit, we're riding with Brock now. Until when? Until Brock isn't Brock for a couple plays, a couple games. You never know. So it's the important piece. You got to take it for what it is right now and keep it rolling, and hopefully the Niners keep it rolling. Again, another defensive back gets hurt. It's like, dude, there's like too many injuries, too many things go south. Timing in football and championships, everything's got to work and click together at the right time, and hopefully you get the result that you want. That's what it is. The guys got to stay healthy at the end of the day. And I think if they do and they play – if the offense plays good enough, I think they can rely on a really stellar defense. But when you get into the playoffs and you're facing, or in a Super Bowl and you face a Mahomes or you face Josh and the Bills,
this
face
guy's
a high scoring
blocked. It's like, who's he even talking to?
I don't know.
All right,
probably
he's blocked.
So
Go ahead.
when you get into those situations where you got a high scoring offense like the Chiefs we saw earlier this year, if the defense can't hold them to 17 points, 21 points, the offense is going to have to obviously produce. And so that's where you're going to hope that the offense can put up 35 points. But to think an offense can put up 35 a week is going to be really tough. And going into the playoffs in that circumstance, the situation, you just hope that the guys rise to the occasion. So,
All right, man. Well, exciting times. We should be talking back next Tuesday, I believe. I might be on my way to California.
stop by, slide through.
Yeah. I'll be on my way to Cali, I think.
If not, the game's on Thursday, right? So we might be able to talk about it Sunday
Okay,
or something like
yeah.
that, or Monday or something like
I'll
that.
be here.
Yeah.
I got
We'll
7 on
figure it
7
out.
trials, but maybe Sunday evening or something. All right, man. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody that watched from Twitter. If you're not on, if you are on Twitter and you watch, man, come over to the YouTube channel. Type in Eric Crocker to pop up. Hit the like button, subscribe button if you like this show. We're just kicking it, big chilling. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys make it a very enjoyable show. I have an amazing time with most of y'all, interacting except for the car guys guy. I don't like the weird shit. Like, don't do the weird shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you start, it's like, who are you even talking to? You're not even talking to anybody. That's when you got to go.
Thanks,
All right,
Troll. I'm glad that I got Troll's approval this week. I'm going to be on edge to match the performance for next week.
Yeah. All right. Trail's on your ass, so.
He's always on my ass, just like Chris is. Yeah. I'm going to let him know, though.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. And we'll see y'all maybe later this week. Maybe early next week. Yep. We'll see. The all 22 should be out by, Friday, Saturday. So we'll see if we can make something shake, man. Appreciate all y'all. And see y'all soon. See you when you see it. Peace.